I develop zombie games that drive players around the world crazy. On the battlefield, with artillery fire all around, Chen Yi stood speechless, holding his gun. Moments ago, he had finally picked up a decent assault rifle, and his confidence soared. Hiding behind cover, he faced a barrage of enemy fire but missed every shot. Strafing didn't work, so he switched to point shooting. Still no luck. Was it really this difficult? In the next second, a bullet shattered his forehead. You're dead. Ha ha ha, Chen Yi, can you do it? At this level, you still want to team up with me? A clear, playful female voice sounded in his ears, full of mischief and joy. Chen Yi, lying on the ground, was dumbfounded. Ning, what's wrong with this weapon's muzzle? It's so unstable, how can you fight with it? Chen Xiaoning picked up Chen Yi's assault rifle, rolled on the ground, and fired, hitting a target in less than 2 seconds. My brother, still don't realize your own incompetence? Chen Xiaoning smiled proudly at Chen Yi. Chen Yi angrily took off his helmet. Damn, this is so different from the shooting games I'm used to. Yes, Chen Yi was a traverser. He had arrived here 3 days ago. His parents were dead, he was unemployed, and he had a sister 2 years younger. Through his initial exploration of this world, Chen Yi discovered some differences. The country was called Xia Kingdom, and while its technology was extremely advanced, its cultural industry was relatively weak and undeveloped. For instance, movies and games had only been developed in the last decade. The device Chen Yi just used was an immersive VR system that connected directly to brain nerves, offering a completely immersive experience with just a helmet, making bodysuits unnecessary. This was initially surprising, but Chen Yi soon realized there were too few things to play with. Apart from games like Crossfire and LoL, the most popular were simulation management games. This equipment had originally been used for scientific research simulations before being opened for civilian use, which seemed extravagant. Today, Chen Yi tried the game with his sister, and it wasn't fun. Hey, this world is so barren in terms of culture and entertainment. How can there be any fun in life? There was a knock on the door. Before Chen Yi could stand up, the door was pushed open. A cute girl in pajamas barged in, pouting, "Brother, okay, I won't talk about you next time. Will you continue to play with me?" Chen Yi was helpless. His sister looked cute, soft, and weak, but she was a professional gamer. Even if the game they just played had poor controls, she was still one of the top 10 players in the country. Sister, it's not that I won't play with you, but this game is really bad. How is it possible? This is the hottest game of the year, with rave reviews online. How can it be bad? That's because you haven't played enough games. My threshold has long been raised. I don't believe it, brother, let's play, Chen Xiaoning pouted, unconvinced. You can say she plays poorly, but you can't say she doesn't play enough. Chen Yi wanted to respond, but he suddenly felt dizzy. A mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Ding! Detected the host's dissatisfaction with the game industry in this world. Binding the God-level game system. As the prompt sounded, Chen Yi was stunned. He didn't expect a system to actually appear. 10%, 32%, 56%, 81%, 99%, 99%. System binding failed. Chen Yi was dumbfounded. What was happening? A bug in the God-level game system has been detected. It has now been changed to an independent producer system. Binding. Bind successful. Get a starter pack. System description. This system consumes emotional points in exchange for games, according to different emotional values. The host can also convert any content related to the cultural industry in memory into games, whether it is movies, novels, etc. The emotional value comes from the emotions of the gamer. Whether it is joy, anger, sorrow, or fright, it will be absorbed. The better the game, the more it can drive the player's emotions. The host is encouraged to create unique game experiences for players. This was incredible. Chen Yi's pupils contracted as he processed the information in his mind. It wasn't just about games. Movies and other content could be turned into games too. Brother, what's wrong with you? Chen Xiaoning stretched out her slender, white hand and waved it in front of Chen Yi's eyes. Nothing. Chen Yi snapped back to reality, looking at his sister's cute face. A determined thought surged in his mind. Sis, I'll show you what a real game is. Chen Yi had already decided. Since he could create anything, he would make a zombie movie into a game. It would definitely be interesting. He smiled arrogantly at the thought, and Chen Xiaoning was stunned. Brother, is this game going to be serious? What are you thinking? Chen Yi snapped his fingers and flicked her forehead, leaving a red mark. After kicking Chen Xiaoning out of the room, Chen Yi concentrated on studying the functions of this system, which is quite humane, and there is a newbie package, I don't know what it is. So he silently said in his heart, System, open the newbie package. The prompt sounded again. Ding! Get a game production experience card. The host can make a game for free. Chen Yi was ecstatic, and for a while he thought of a lot of various games he had played in his previous life, Zelda, Give Him Love, Old Roll, Old Man Ring, etc., and had the urge to take a hand. But then I thought that I had played all those games, and this system could even be used in movies and novels, which was also a novel experience. Chen Yi decided to give it a try first. Make a game based on Mr. Zombie. Ding! This game needs to consume 100,000 emotional points, and use the game experience card to offset the in the making. Made, ding, has been selected to store on the nearest device. The game has been stored in the host's immersive headset. A system is a system, one step at a time. Chen Yi immediately sat back in the game chair, put on the immersive helmet, and saw the game in the game library at a glance. Even the cover was the same as the movie poster. Ha ha ha. Interesting. After a small experience, Chen Yi immediately took his helmet and ran to Chen Xiaoning's room. This little girl is now preparing for live broadcasting, which is also one of the ways for professional gamers to make money. Seeing Chen Yi coming in, Chen Xiaoning said happily, Brother, do you want to make a sudden surprise together? Don't worry, I will definitely cover you. Sister, don't worry, come, this game will be played for you first. After Chen Yi finished speaking, he handed the immersion equipment in his hand to Chen Xiaoning. Chen Xiaoning was a little puzzled. What game? Good game. Remember to go live later, let me see your level, Chen Yi induced. Chen Xiaoning suddenly became interested when he heard this, since the old brother recommended it. Let's let him see the awesomeness of professional players. After that, Chen Yi went out, and as soon as Chen Xiaoning saw it, he also put on a helmet and opened the live broadcast platform bullfighting. Good evening, brothers, long wait, long wait. As soon as Chen Xiaoning appeared, the popularity of the live broadcast room rose gradually, and it broke 10,000 in less than a while. In addition to Chen Xiaoning's good looks, there is also the operation of her professional player, which has increased her fans a lot. Xiaoningza. Hurry, continue to swoop today, I want to watch a series of headshots. Today's Xiaoningza is good, very punctual. Xiaoningza, it's been a long time since I've seen you steal vegetables, why don't you have 2 handfuls today? Woman, although you haven't done anything yet, you've caught my attention. Chen Xiaoning was accustomed to the ridicule of this group of poor-mouthed friends in the live broadcast room, and said indifferently, I won't play those games today. My brother told me that the games I usually play are rubbish, and give me a real game to play tonight. I don't believe it, so I'll take a look with everyone tonight. Is it as God as he said? The name of the game is Mr. Zombie, and I heard that it is an open-ended exploration and supernatural game. Chen Xiaoning pointed to an icon in the game library and said. As soon as these words came out, they exploded. You must know that there is not much entertainment in this world, and these games set off a storm as soon as they were launched, and quickly gained a large number of fans. Now some people say that they are playing garbage, how can they bear it? What? Is my uncle evil? Xiaoningza, take him to the hospital to see. What the hell? Mr. Zombie. I've never heard of it, I dare to compare it with 222. It's not very reliable at first glance. Is it abrupt or unpleasant, or is it not fragrant? There was a sudden uproar in the live broadcast room, and Chen Xiaoning didn't expect everyone's reaction to be so big, but it didn't matter, it was all hot anyway. Let's play and see. Chen Xiaoning clicked on the icon directly. The picture was dark for a while, and then Chen Xiaoning appeared in the wilderness. At this time it was when the moon was dark and the wind was high, and the surroundings were very quiet, and by the moonlight, you could clearly see the fog in the jungle not far away, which was gloomy. What's going on? Huh, is this really a game? Brothers, I'm not dazzled, am I? Chen Xiaoning looked around incredulously. The roots of the plants were dense, and there was a fine touch when his feet stepped on it, and the breeze blew with a little coolness. Damn, it's the same as reality, it's no different at all. How elaborate is this modeling? Chen Xiaoning lowered his head and found that he was still a female character, just wearing coarse cloth clothes, which looked like clothes from 100 or 200 years ago. There are no health bars, no pages, and it's completely realistic. Chen Xiaoning walked to the edge of the tree, tore off a branch, broke it with his hands, and the leaves could be picked off, and the degree of freedom was bursting. Now the games are still in the exploration stage. How can there be such a degree of completion? So not only Chen Xiaoning, but all the netizens in the live broadcast room were dumbfounded. There's something in this Nima. It's shocking that the leaves that are sprinkled by your hands can be carried to the ground by the wind instead of disappearing. I'm looking forward to it. What is this game for? Explore. Within the line of sight, there is a small netizen barrage refreshing, and Chen Xiaoning can also see the messages of netizens. But at this time, she didn't have time to pay attention to it. Like a child, she touched here and there and knocked, and played with it. Although she didn't know what the game mission was, it didn't prevent her from exploring at all, but the surroundings were too quiet to make people a little uneasy. Just as she was about to try it out by climbing a tree, suddenly, a cold wind blew behind him, and Chen Xiaoning was excited. Before she could turn around, she heard a sound that seemed to be something, as if someone was ripping off a bamboo bar, and it was very rhythmic. Knock knock knock. Then it slowly sounded with the sound of children singing. Her eyes, seemed to be like stars shining, seeing and seeing and seeing panic. Just imagine, the third watch encountered such a child's voice in the wilderness in the middle of the night, which is simply sensational. Chen Xiaoning's scalp was numb, his neck was stiff, and when he looked back, he saw a group of people in the fog not far away, who seemed to be carrying something, and were slowly running towards this side. What is this? Obviously, you can see that this group of people is running over, but except for the horror nursery rhyme, you can't hear the sound of running at all, and it is very weird. Is the red sedan chair a send-off procession? Chen Xiaoning was so nervous that his heart was pounding. When he got a little closer, Chen Xiaoning was horrified to find that these people were all wearing dark shrouds. Their faces were as white as paper, and their faces were smeared with round blush and lipstick. What made her shudder even more was that these people looked at her with a smile and showed a penetrating smile at herself. It was obvious that the other party was coming towards him. Goosebumps covered his whole body all at once, and Chen Xiaoning couldn't help but scream. Damn! What is this Nima? How'd I look so much like a paper tie man who burned a dead man? Oh my god! Xiaoningza is stunned. Why are you running? The netizens in the live broadcast room were boiling, and many people already felt a chill down their spines, and unconsciously turned the picture and sound to the minimum. The child's voice continued. The bright moon spits light, the yin wind blows the willow lane, it is a female ghost looking for a lover. Chen Xiaoning wanted to run, but his legs were weak, and they were getting softer and softer, so he just turned around and staggered a few steps, his back was already soaked. At this time, she couldn't care about scolding her brother in her heart, and even the perfect picture made her forget that she was in the game, and she just wanted to escape from this place quickly. Suddenly, there was silence behind him, and the terrifying nursery rhyme that had been singing just now disappeared at some point, as if nothing had ever happened. Chen Xiaoning was unsure in his heart, so he wanted to quit the game. But I took a look at the situation in the live broadcast room. In a short period of time, the popularity has exceeded 100,000, which is the head traffic on the bullfighting platform, and Chen Xiaoning has never had it. The audience became more excited after relieving themselves, and urged Chen Xiaoning to hurry up and see what was going on. Xiaoningza, keep playing, don't be afraid, I'll brush a big to cheer you up. Brothers, the rockets are also walking. Yes, it must be dazzling, or it's just a cutscene, how can someone die in the first place? Chen Xiaoning listened to the prompts of various gifts while watching the barrage, and also felt that it made sense, maybe it was just the opening plot. So Chen Xiaoning mustered up the courage to turn back slowly. There was nothing behind him, still a quiet jungle, and a strange miasma. Looks like I'm scaring myself. Chen Xiaoning covered his chest and gasped, his legs still weak. Netizens couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. I'll just say, it's scary to death from the start, and it's an exploration game. It seems that the degree of freedom is very high. Do you want to go in the direction where the female ghost appeared just now? Killing Chen Xiaoning wouldn't go in that direction, so she turned around and prepared to continue walking away from this ghost place. Just turned around. Scary nursery rhymes are ringing in my ears again. The team of paper figures that had disappeared appeared behind her again at some point, and when Chen Xiaoning turned around, the four pale faces with smiling skin and smiling flesh were all brushed in front of her eyes, less than 3 centimeters away from Chen Xiaoning. Ah! This sudden scene directly made her almost collapse, and she was so frightened that tears came out. The netizens in the live broadcast room are even more distracted. Nima is still bragging and farting 1 second, and the next second is farting and urinating. Some were so frightened that they lost their mobile phones, and many people leaned back directly, and the tables and chairs were overturned. But they just watched. Chen Xiaoning faced the situation head-on, and in the 0.01 second that her brain was down, she watched 4 paper figures pounce on her. Then the pain was like a tear in the head. The next second, the screen went black. You're dead. Game failed. Ah. Chen Xiaoning took off the immersion helmet, buried his head in his knees and cried, his whole body still trembling. It's scary. Why is it so scary? I don't have anything like that. The scene just now is still lingering in front of her eyes, and it can be expected that she will have nightmares tonight. It's all stinky, brother. Chen Xiaoning raised his head pitifully, wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, and said with a pout. Immediately picked up the pillow and ran towards Chen Yi's room. On the other side, Chen Yi had just come out of the shower and was about to go back to the room to watch the old girl's game trip. Before he walked to the room, he saw Chen Xiaoning rushing out with a pillow in the rain. The two looked at each other, and before Chen Yi could speak, a pillow flew first. Chen Yi took the pillow speechlessly, threw it back, and hit the old girl's face accurately. At this moment, Chen Xiaoning's snot and tears were all pasted together. Wow! Chen Xiaoning's mentality collapsed again, and he suddenly sat on the ground and cried, still the kind of duck sitting. Chen Yi was a little confused by her, squatted down and asked, "Tell me, what's going on, what's going on?" "It's not that you blame it. No, blame you for that game. It's scary. Wu Chen Yi, you. It's so hateful." Chen Xiaoning's crying was miserable, and he was overly frightened. Chen Yi sighed. "Didn't I tell you about the supernatural, you said, are you careless?" Chen Xiaoning was speechless by Chen Yi's words. In the final analysis, it was indeed his own carelessness, and he didn't care much about this game. Who knew that Chen Yi, the 6th child, did this? Haha, that's it, your brother and I just took a shower, then you can't do it, tisk tisk. Chen Xiaoning originally wanted to refute a few words, but when he thought of the scene in the game, he couldn't help but ask, "Brother, where did you get this game? Why have I never heard of it?" "Of course you haven't heard of it, because I did it," Chen Yi said as he walked. Chen Xiaoning was shocked. When did my brother become so awesome? In the past few days, I obviously feel that my brother is a little different, and the temperament of the whole person has changed, and he is more decisive and imposing than before, but when will he even do the game? Why, your brother can't develop games, you don't know anything about your brother's excellence. Where's the fun? Chen Yi asked, looking at his sister. Still in the jungle. Haha, it's still at the starting point. As long as you're still a professional gamer, I play better than you with my feet. Chen Yi finally found a chance to pull back a game, and he was arrogant. At this time, Chen Xiaoning had already lost his arrogance, looking like he wanted to play but didn't dare to play. Chu Chu pitifully pulled the corner of Chen Yi's clothes and said, "Jeji, is it okay to tell me the strategy?" Chen Yi rubbed her hair indiscriminately, and said proudly, "It's not good, there is no strategy for this game. Different ways to play will have different endings. You can do it yourself. By the way, what does the audience think?" Chen Xiaoning was still distressed by the lack of a strategy, and when he heard the audience, he immediately smiled. "Brother, it's amazing, you don't know. My popularity has broken 100,000. While talking, I took out my mobile phone and opened it to see that the gifts were tens of thousands. It's not enough to be popular, be good, be obedient, and keep playing. Chen Yike plans to be popular all over the internet tonight, so he will use a hammer on this popularity. Okay. Chen Xiaoning was also reluctant to be so popular, so he took a deep breath and walked back to the room with great righteousness, looking at this background as if he was generous to righteousness. Chen Yi shook his head. This sister is good at everything, but her brain is a little flustered. Back in the room, put back on your immersion device, and you're back on the main page. Chen Xiaoning took a look at the situation in the live broadcast room, and the popularity actually exceeded 200,000. The barrage was full of screens, and there were more and more people, so it is conceivable that everyone is looking forward to this game. I'm sorry brothers, I just lost my temper, forgive me. Chen Xiaoning said with palpitations. He was really almost scared out of his illness just now. It's okay, I just went to change a pair of pants and just wiped the floor dry. This game is really exciting. It's late, what just happened? So excited, everyone. Xiao Ningzi, why can't I search for this game? Where did I find it? There were a lot of greetings floating on the barrage, and when Chen Xiaoning saw someone asking about the game, he immediately puffed up his chest proudly and said, "This is my brother's development, and it hasn't been launched yet. Do you say it's hanging or not?" Hanging. This game is definitely a cross-generational work. Who is the eldest brother, who is so powerful? Xiao Ningzi, don't talk nonsense, go on. Seeing that everyone was very interested, Chen Xiaoning was also happy and worried. She smiled dryly. Okay. Let's start immediately, but everyone will also help think about how to live together. Chen Xiaoning took a deep breath and clicked on the icon again. Game reconnect. It was dark in front of him, and Chen Xiaoning appeared in the wilderness again. Appeared in the familiar scene again, Chen Xiaoning was not as excited as last time, and became a little trance. If it weren't for a large number of netizens in the live broadcast room as her backing, she really wouldn't dare to try it so quickly. So this time, Chen Xiaoning didn't delay too long in the same place, and after recognizing the direction in which the paper binding person would appear, he went directly in the opposite direction. Luckily, there are no forks in the road, just a straight country road that stretches ahead. Late at night, Chen Xiaoning trotted on this road, and the strange thing is that there are still many obstacles on this road, such as puddles and mud floors. Netizens speculated that it should be the operation exercise at the beginning of the game. Tossed Chen Xiaoning enough, and before she could stop to rest, the sound of knocking bamboo sticks faintly sounded behind her. Chen Xiaoning suddenly looked like a fried cat, and turned his head in an instant, his face full of fear. I saw the creepy send-off team reappear in the jungle fog in the distance. Damn. Here we go again. It's really ghostly. Come on, everyone, I'll turn off the sound first. Just here, can someone explain what's going on? Upstairs, there will be amazing things later, don't blink, don't blink. What a run. Xiao Ningzi. Run. Chen Xiaoning finally came back to his senses, and had the first encounter. Although he was still scared to death this time, he still gritted his teeth to restrain his fear and ran forward desperately. Even if he was out of breath, he still clearly felt that the terrifying nursery rhyme behind him was getting closer and clearer, and the strong feeling of wandering on the edge of death became more and more intense. The temperature is dropping, but she doesn't dare to look back. Chen Xiaoning was afraid that the four pale smiling faces were stuck behind her and waited for her to turn around. Damn, it's so tortuous, I hate this game. Wu Chen Xiaoning's tears came out unconsciously. At this moment, she suddenly noticed that a fence appeared not far away, and it seemed to be a courtyard. Someone, as if encountering a life-saving straw, Chen Xiaoning ran straight towards the gate of the courtyard and slapped the gate frantically. Bang bang bang. Is anyone there? Is there anyone? Help. Chen Xiaoning was so anxious that she could clearly feel that it was getting colder and colder behind her, and the terrifying nursery rhyme continued to disturb her mind like a magic sound. Help. Just as Chen Xiaoning curled up and was about to take off his helmet, the door squeaked open. Who's making a noise? An impatient voice came out, but at this time, it was the sound of heaven for Chen Xiaoning. The door opened, and a funny-looking man with a mushroom head appeared, and he was seen holding a handful of incense in his hand and looking out of the door. The moment I saw Chen Xiaoning, I was straight. This woman, it's beautiful. The originally sleepy face also changed, and he asked with a demented face. You. Hello, who are you looking for? Chen Xiaoning saw that someone dared to delay when he opened the door, so he directly walked in. Close the door quickly, there is a ghost outside. Ah, how do you know that this man is even less courageous? And he was so frightened that he closed the door at once, and finally felt a little suspicious, so he opened a crack in the door and carefully observed. It was silent outside, there were no ghosts, and the man wondered, there are no ghosts. Chen Xiaoning also took a quick glance at the crack in the door, dumbfounded. The original life-threatening nursery rhyme was gone, and even the ghost was gone. Is this a delusion? Netizens saw that the game was progressing, and their eyes were also bright. It's definitely not a delusion. We all heard it, but it's strange that we didn't dare to show up. New locations have been unlocked. Why is this NPC dialogue so smooth? The barrage was densely brushed over. Seeing the scared look of the girl in front of him, the mushroom-headed man thought about it, raised his chest and said domineeringly. Oh, even if there are ghosts, they are not afraid. As long as they dare to come, they will be destroyed directly. Chen Xiaoning looked at him in surprise. This will make her also find out how this NPC is so powerful. Whatever you ask, you will go back directly. Is it a very powerful eye system? And this person can catch ghosts? This NPC is awesome. No matter, now that you encounter the first NPC, hurry up and find out the situation. With the attitude of exploration and curiosity, Chen Xiaoning asked. You are so powerful. You can actually fight ghosts. By the way, my name is Chen Xiaoning. May I ask who you are? The mushroom-headed man was a little embarrassed when he heard Chen Xiaoning praise him, scratched his hair and said shyly. Oh no, I won't, it's my master, he's amazing. He's the ninth uncle, I'm his disciple. My name is Wensai. Ninth uncle, Wensai. Well, this name is not the main character when you hear it, and it is estimated that it will be out of the way. Chen Xiaoning didn't care, and continued to inquire. Wensai, I'm lost. Where is this? This is Yizhuang. Ah, I almost forgot. I'm going to go to the incense arrangement. I'm about to delay. Wen Kai seemed to think of something, patted his brain, looked at the incense burned in his hand and said with annoyance. As he spoke, he walked inside. What, Wensai? Wait for me, can I stay here? I'll leave when dawn. Chen Xiaoning hurriedly asked, and she didn't dare to go out now. Why don't you follow me first? I'll be busy soon, and I'll go and ask the master later. Wen Kai grabbed his hair and said distress-edly. He didn't dare to agree casually. After all, the master's temper was so weird, it wouldn't be worth beating him because of this matter. Okay. Chen Xiaoning had no choice but to agree, and then following Wen Kai's footsteps, the two walked to the door of a room. Wen Kai pushed the door open, and Chen Xiaoning was instantly stunned. It was full of coffins. At this time, the number of people in the live broadcast room has soared to 300,000, and the official backstage staff of the live broadcast platform are a little surprised to see the number of people skyrocketing. Is this the live streaming data of tomatoes? I just went to have a meal and came back and exploded? Is the tomato so powerful tonight? Look, it's not a tomato, it's Xiao Ningzi. What, Xiao Ningzi? Several staff members were a little incredulous, although Chen Xiaoning is a professional player and his popularity is not bad, but compared to those head anchors, such as Tomato, Ah Hua, Xiao Zhou and others, it is still a little behind. After all, Xiao Ningzi's popularity is basically below 100,000, and now this situation is to be among the top anchors. The staff is also curious about what she is broadcasting tonight. Why is her popularity so high? Don't be restrictive. And the other big anchors also feel that something is wrong tonight. How do you feel that there are a little fewer people? And it's still getting fewer and fewer. Is it an illusion? Ah Hua showed off an operation in Crossfire tonight, and she was still proud, but she looked up and was stunned. Obviously, my own operation just now is very good. Why is the barrage less than half? Popularity is a big deal. Ah Hua didn't dare to be careless, so she asked casually. As a result, there were really water friends who gave him a puzzle. My friend said that Xiao Ningzi played a cross-era horror game tonight, and his popularity has exceeded 300,000, and I'm going to take a look. Ah Hua, don't be here on a standalone machine. Let's go together. Cross-generational horror games? Is it so exaggerated? Ah Hua shook her head. She didn't believe it at all, but since she knew that the reason was with Xiao Ningzi, it didn't hurt to go and take a look. In-game, Wen Kai walked into the door very casually, turned his head and looked. Chen Xiaoning behind him stretched out a foot and hung in the air, but he didn't move. He was on the spot. Wen Kai was puzzled. What's wrong? Chen Xiaoning trembled and pointed to the coffins and tablets in the room, unable to say a word. Netizens are also dumbfounded. There has been no burial in this era for a long time, and many people have only seen such things as coffins on TV, and now they look at it and are lifeless. Nima's coffin in a room. Is it all dead? If it were me, I wouldn't go in if I was killed. I would panic when I looked at it. It's a ghost and a coffin. This game is really going to scare people to death. The author doesn't talk about martial arts. It's better to be honest and obedient, Xiao Ningzi. If you are kicked out, it will be over, and the female ghost is haunted. Chen Xiaoning swallowed his saliva, with fear on his face. Why are there so many coffins? Yes, we are the only Yizhuang in the town, and of course some coffins that have not been buried for the time being are here. Don't be afraid, Wen Kai said of course. Chen Xiaoning gritted his teeth and followed. Wen Kai walked towards the table where the tablet was placed, took a handful of incense and lit the fire again, and then shouted to the door. Uncles and brothers and sisters, come back for dinner. Chen Xiaoning's heart relaxed slightly, and took the initiative to ask, do you need my help? Okay. This one is for you. You go and incense the coffin. 3 for each person. Ah yes. I almost forgot. Let the guests eat first. Wen Kai walked to the corner and opened the curtain with a brush, which startled Chen Xiaoning. 8 people dressed in ancient official uniforms with a yellow talisman on their foreheads stood in place, their eyes closed, and they looked as if they were asleep. Chen Xiaoning had never seen such a peculiar shape, and although he was very curious, he was still a little afraid. Text. Wensai, what is this? This is a guest, brought by my uncle. No, why do you want to give them incense? Chen Xiaoning was horrified to find that this guy actually gave incense to people. This is to be beaten to death. Wen Kai suddenly knew that he was wrong, so he explained. They are dead people, they are all zombies, and my uncle is responsible for transporting them back to their hometown for burial. As soon as these words came out, the live broadcast room was in an uproar. Dead man. No wonder his face is gray, not like the breath of a living man. Zombies sound so familiar. I remember it seems to be recorded in ancient books. Nima can't be real. It looks so infiltrating, it won't suddenly erupt. Chen Xiaoning pointed to the zombies behind Wen Kai and found that they were shaking slightly. But why do dead people move? Wen Kai shrugged his shoulders, immediately turned around to look, and found that it was true. In a hurry, he picked up the tweezers on the table and raised the wick of the ever-bright lamp, and the zombies stabilized. The two of them breathed a sigh of relief, plus one opinion. A line of words suddenly appeared in the line of sight, making everyone stunned. Favorability. This game actually has a favorability. What's the use? Could it be that it will have an impact on the development of the plot? There have been many netizens who have made various speculations in the barrage. Chen Xiaoning is cautious now, for fear that there will be some mods in this game. This kind of thing is a Shaw countryman. Chen Xiaoning took out 3 incense sticks and inserted them in the incense burner next to the coffin according to the instructions. Everything else is fine, but there is a coffin, and there is no incense burner, so Chen Xiaoning is inserted in the coffin. As a result, it disappeared as soon as he turned around after inserting it. Chen Xiaoning didn't think much about it, and inserted it again, and this time it actually flew out of the crack. Isn't there a dead man in the coffin? Was so frightened that she retreated again, and hurriedly called Wen Kai. There's something wrong with this coffin. Wen Kai also felt strange when he heard it, so he was ready to show his manhood and lift the coffin lid with his own hands. As a result, as soon as he lifted it, a skull suddenly stretched out from it, and it bit Wen Kai's hand at once, and Wen Kai squeaked in pain. Chen Xiaoning saw that Wen Kai was bitten, and endured fear and was about to help, before he approached, and another hand reached out from the coffin and grabbed her arm firmly. This hand was cold, and Chen Xiaoning had goosebumps all over his body. Cardiac arrest for a second, the other hand reflexively picked up an incense burner next to him and smashed it desperately. A scream came, but Chen Xiaoning didn't have time to pay attention to it at all. At this time, his palm had been released, and he immediately ran forward in a panic. Not over there, Chen Xiaoning was so flustered that he actually hit the table in front of the zombie and knocked the ever-bright lamp to the ground. In an instant, all the zombie forehead talismans were dropped, and 8 pairs of eyes opened in unison. Stretching out his hands, he jumped on his feet and jumped towards her. Mom! The second fright struck. Shen Xiaoning had never been so agile, avoided it in an extremely distorted posture, and ran out of the door as if he was running away, but unfortunately bumped into a figure. Well, what's going on? Are you? An honest voice came, and Shen Xiaoning looked up and saw a middle-aged man with sword eyebrows and starry eyes, short hair and square face. I don't know what's going on, but I feel an inexplicable sense of security when I see this face. What's the matter with the little girl? Spoke a tall, thin man with glasses standing next to him, his tone visibly anxious. Shen Xiaoning pointed to the room behind him and said, "Yes, there's a ghost." Wen Kai was caught. What? Senior brother, do you still have a ghost in your house? The man with glasses turned his head to look at the square-faced man in disbelief. The square-faced man frowned and didn't believe it, and the two rushed in directly. Shen Xiaoning also followed behind and watched secretly. If the situation was not right, she immediately took off her helmet and went offline, although taking it off directly will cause the game to not be stored, but it can't be so much. I saw the square-faced man and the glasses man step forward together, biting their fingers to make a decision, and they were not afraid of the 8 expressionless zombies at all. It's a punch and a kick on the forehead, and the most amazing thing is that the zombie doesn't move after the forehead is nodized with fingertip blood. Where has Shen Xiaoning seen such a scene? He just thinks it's amazing, and all the zombies are frozen in less than a while. Who are these 2 people? Such awesome. Could it be the 9th uncle? Wen Kai said. If you learn a few tricks here, won't you be afraid of Piao outside? Xiao Ningzi remembers to hug her thighs. After the scene was suppressed, 2 people came out of the corner. It was Wensai and a man in a zombie costume, both of whom stood with their heads down and did not dare to move. Why don't you come here to help? Said the square-faced man, glaring at them. Ooh! The 2 of them were busy and came over to move the zombies together. Wen Kai saw Shen Xiaoning, who was hiding outside the door and peeking, and immediately ran over to pull her over. Xiaoning, this is my master, Uncle Ju. This one who wears glasses is my senior uncle, and this one is my senior brother Chusheng. Wen Kai helped her identify them one by one, and Chusheng gave her an apologetic look. Seeing that there was doubt in the master's eyes, Wen Kai said with a big grin what he had met Xiaoning before, and then asked the master if he could let her stay for one night. What else can Uncle Nine say? How could he drive people out this big night? So he had to say with a straight face, "Yes, let's find a room to sleep tonight." Chen Xiaoning was pleasantly surprised. "Okay, thank you Uncle Nine. Uncle Nine, you are so amazing." Uncle Ju's face turned red rarely, and he immediately turned around and continued to help the zombie customers of the 4-eyed Taoist paste yellow charms and light the everlasting lamp again. "You 2 stinky boys, what are you kidding, playing with my customers?" The 4-eyed Taoist shook his head and complained, and prepared to leave in his robe. Wen Kai Chusheng had no choice but to smile awkwardly. "Stay longer." Uncle Nine kept a sentence. "Okay, we'll see you later." After speaking, the 4-eyed Taoist held the order flag in one hand and shook the bell in the other, and walked towards the door. Chen Xiaoning was surprised to find that these zombies actually jumped out in unison with his bells. "It's amazing, isn't it?" Chusheng leaned over and said, "What's this? The Taoist skills of my Maoshan faction are even more amazing." Seeing their 2 spells against zombies tonight, Chen Xiaoning was really moved, and he didn't know if it was possible to learn a trick. "Aren't you going back so late? You'll be asking for someone again later. Go back." Uncle Nine looked at his apprentice there, and said directly with a straight face. Hey, let's go." Chusheng smiled and immediately took off the zombie suit, and whispered to Chen Xiaoning, "By the way, I'm sorry just now, I wanted to scare Wen Kai." Looking at the literary talent with the same bitter gourd face, Chen Xiaoning had no choice but to smile. "It's okay, your senior brother has a really good relationship." Uncle Nine. +1 favorability. Autumn students. +1 opinion. Wensai. -1 favorability. When the matter was over, Chusheng also went back, and Wen Kai took Chen Xiaoning to the guest room. Chen Xiaoning is still wondering if he really wants to sleep in the game. As a result, as soon as you enter the guest room and close the door, the picture will turn black, and the background music will sound. If there is a zombie fan in the previous life, you will know that this is the 100 Ghost Fog Forest in Mr. Zombie 2, and the sound is weird and full of atmosphere. Chen Xiaoning was flustered, thinking that he had encountered some new situation, and zombie world instantly appeared in front of him as a big word. Handsome. What happened this night? That was most likely the teaching level. One night, I met ghosts and zombies, and there were also capable people and strange people appeared. This prologue is very wonderful. Zombie world? It really seems that it is an open-ended world to explore. Chen Xiaoning, I'm Awa, can you send me the game? The anchor Awa also appeared in the barrage at this time, but Chen Xiaoning didn't care about watching the barrage at all. She was very excited at this time. In fact, it was only a little more than an hour from the time she entered the game to the end of the prologue, and it is conceivable that the game has passed at least hundreds of hours. I don't know what to do next when I get into the main story. After a few seconds, the large text of the title was blown away by a gust of wind, and it was already dawn outside the house when the picture lit up again. It's quite humane. Chen Xiaoning pushed open the door and went out again, walking down the corridor towards the front hall. Wake up, I'm just going to call you to breakfast. Wen Kai's voice came from the side, still looking naive. Chen Xiaoning's heart moved. Can you still eat in the game? So he nodded and said, then I'll trouble you. The courtyard was not big, and the two of them came to the position of the front hall, where Uncle Nine was already sitting and eating, and nodded when he saw Chen Xiaoning coming. Sit down and eat. Chen Xiaoning looked at the fried white porridge, tentatively picked up a piece and took a bite. Well, it does have a taste, and he can feel that his spirit has obviously recovered a lot. Chen Xiaoning's eyes widened. It was amazing. Don't you have an appetite? Asked Uncle Nine as he ate the fritters. No, Chen Xiaoning hurriedly said. By the way, Miss Chen, I'm going to go to town with my master later. Where are you going? Do you need us to give you a ride? Wen Kai said suddenly. Town? This is to unlock a new map. When Chen Xiaoning heard this, he smiled and hurriedly said, you guys are going to town. That's great. After eating, the master and apprentice entered the house, and when they came out, Chen Xiaoning was dumbfounded. The two of them actually changed into clothes. Coarse cloth clothes were changed into neat yellow coats and vests, and Uncle Nine held a cigarette pouch in his hand. Uncle Nine, where are you going to dress so neatly? Chen Xiaoning said curiously. She now knows that Uncle Nine is the main character of the plot. How can she not figure it out? Wen Kai immediately replied. The master is going to take me to have foreign tea. Ah yes, Miss Chen, do you know how to drink foreign tea? Uncle Nine thought about it. He had never drunk foreign tea. What if he was embarrassed? What is foreign tea? Black tea? Coffee? Chen Xiaoning was a little confused. Yes, it's coffee, isn't it, master? Wen Kai said happily, his face wrinkled into chrysanthemums. Uncle Nine was overjoyed. It seemed that there was a play, and he finally met someone who knew how to do it. Coffee. Yes. I drink it a lot. Chen Xiaoning patted his chest and affirmed. Uncle Nine. +2 opinion Wensai. +2 favorability. Looking at the text reminder in front of him, Chen Xiaoning was speechless. He didn't expect it to be so easy to gain favorability. Seeing that she really knew, Uncle Nine invited her to drink a foreign tea together, and Chen Xiaoning also agreed. The three of them soon went to the town. This was the first time Chen Xiaoning came to the Republic of China-style street market, and his eyes looked around, as if he had never seen the world. The combination of Chinese and Western buildings, as well as the people coming and going on the streets, there are everything in gowns, cheongsams in suits, rickshaws, hawkers, and uniformed security personnel who look fierce. It is very lively, and there are many people who greet Uncle Ju. It can be seen that Uncle Nine is still very prestigious in this area. A game that is so realistic, it can be used as a travel simulator. It's so fun. I can explore this street all day. I want to open it up for download. Hey, it's funny over there, a big fat nun with a group of young nuns handing out flyers. There's a church under construction not far away, and these details are really well done. There is actually Yihong Courtyard next to it. Dear sailors, don't say more. Chen Xiaoning's appearance made Uncle Nine wonder, this little girl really drank coffee? Passing through the flow of people, the three of them came to the tea house. At this time Master Ren had been waiting for a long time, and when he saw Uncle Ju, he got up to say hello, and when he saw Chen Xiaoning standing next to him, his eyes widened. "Xiaoning, why are you here?" As soon as these words came out, the three of them froze. Chen Xiaoning was in a trance for a while when he heard this name, and for a moment he thought that he was really in reality and was no longer in the game. Master Ren and Uncle Nine explained. "This is the daughter of a distant relative of mine, but I didn't expect to know Uncle Nine." The daughter of a distant relative pulled Chen Xiaoning back to reality in an instant. It turned out that this was the identity arranged in the game, but at this time, she didn't need to explain anything, and Master Ren also arranged for her to sit down. "You came just in time. Ting Ting will come later, you are the same age, you can get to know each other." After that, a girl in a dress walked up from the staircase, with a delicate appearance and a little heroic. Wen Kai was immediately attracted, staring at people with a nymphomaniac. It angered people. After introduction, Ren Ting politely greeted Uncle Ju and Chen Xiaoning, and as for the squinting literary talent, she ignored it. Because they all ordered coffee, Uncle Nine didn't understand English, but he had to order it with everyone. After that, Chen Xiaoning heard them discussing the relocation of the coffin, which is likely to be the next important plot, but it can't be missed. "I only heard that the coffin would be up tomorrow, and before we could talk in detail, Master Ren had something to go out, and at this time, the coffee happened to be served, a cup of milk and a cup of coffee, and Uncle Nine and Wen Kai were stunned. "Master, which cup to drink first?" Wen Kai's brows furrowed. This is Ren Ting's eyebrows, pretending to take a sip of each cup, and using a spoonful of sugar directly into her mouth, grunting a few times and swallowing it. Chen Xiaoning looked cold. "Everyone is a girl, what are you trying to do like this?" Sure enough, seeing that Wen Kai, a fool, was ready to do so, Uncle Nine was also going to get started, and immediately stretched out his hand to stop them. "Pure coffee is very bitter without sugar. You can pour half a cup of milk and 2 spoonfuls of sugar and stir together. This is the way to drink latte." Chen Xiaoning rarely met the familiar one, and immediately took a bite elegantly, and then savored it. Only then did Uncle Ju and Wen Kai know that they had just been deceived by this little girl, and they almost fell into embarrassment, and glanced at Chen Xiaoning gratefully. Uncle Nine. +3 favorability Wensai. +4 favorability. It looks like the favorability is still very good. I don't know what the final usage of the favorability is. This Ren Ting looks good, but it's still a little worse than Chen Xiaoning. I don't pick. As long as this game can raid her. When the game is over, game author. If you can see it, remember to consider my suggestion. Ren Ting saw that she couldn't play Wensai, so she stuck out her tongue and stopped talking. After the matter was discussed, Uncle Nine was going back with Wensai, and Chen Xiaoning also wanted to follow. "Xiaoning, since you're here, let's stay at home these days. Ting, I haven't had a friend for a few days, so why don't you accompany her and play together?" Chen Xiaoning was a little hesitant. Shu was the reason for brushing his favorability before, and Uncle Nine smiled. "Well, you can come and play if you want to in the future. Come, this talisman is for you, keep it." Hearing this, Chen Xiaoning's heart was overjoyed, and he happily took the yellow talisman, and agreed to Master Ren's request. Although Ren Ting was very naughty before, she was actually a good girl, so she took Chen Xiaoning's hand and ran out. "Wait, where are we going? I just came back from abroad, and I haven't visited this town yet. Let's go shopping together?" Ren Ting said happily. It was very boring to be alone before, and it was rare to have someone to accompany her. Chen Xiaoning's eyes lit up when she heard this. She had long coveted this town. Isn't the greatest fun of open-ended games to explore, and you can enter every store as far as the eye can see? What a great design. Ren Ting likes to watch Rouge Gouache, while Chen Xiaoning pays attention to the details of the game, always looking for someone to chat, constantly testing the AI level of the game, and then he was shocked. It's so free. When the two passed by the group of nuns, they were still pulled, and the eldest nun led by them was tall and fat, enthusiastically promoting the greatness of the Lord, which made the two of them laugh and slipped away while they were not paying attention. They seemed to be building a church. Yes, these people usually come only for missionary purposes, and it's kind of cute to look at. Hey, there's a monk over there who is helping a beggar. Let's go and see. Ren Ting pulled Chen Xiaoning and walked towards the mouth of the alley. It was full of beggars and children, and an old monk with a young girl was giving alms. Those little beggars got the steamed buns handed over by the old monk, nodded gratefully, and hurriedly walked to the corner to eat them. Ren Ting, as a person of this era, has long been surprised by such things, but Chen Xiaoning is not. Where are so many ragged beggars in the metropolis, and they are still so young? And suddenly the soft place in her heart was touched and wanted to help. But after groping around on my body, I found that I didn't have a penny. Anyway, this game can be bought and sold, so of course you can earn money. I had no choice but to say to Ren Ting on the side, Ting, lend me a little money and pay you back later. Ren Ting knew what she was doing first, so she readily agreed, and took out $5 silver for her. Chen Xiaoning walked to the old monk with the money, folded his hands and said, Master, hello, there is money here, you can use it to buy them some food and clothing. The old monk looked very kind, and when he saw that Chen Xiaoning had a heart, he accepted it with both hands. Thank you for your generosity, this is my disciple Qinqing, the old monk said with a smile. Chen Xiaoning and the two nodded slightly, and left. This is the first time that the sailors have seen this side of Xiaoningza, and they are curious and emotional. I didn't expect to be able to do good deeds in the game. I always feel that this town hides a lot of different details. The author of the game is really attentive. A horror game has such a warm side. Xiaoningza, don't do the branch, let's continue to push the main line. Didn't go shopping for long. Chen Xiaoning and Ren Ting went back in a rickshaw. Chen Xiaoning went to Ren Ting's house for the first time, and it was really a wealthy compound, with both Chinese and Western buildings in the courtyard, as well as a 3-story small Western-style building, atmospheric. Let's sleep in a room tonight. Ren Ting and Chen Xiaoning can have fun, so they want to talk quietly together at night. However, Chen Xiaoning is very hot about the game now, and he is not interested in these little daughters' postures, so he entered the room as soon as possible, and then skipped the black screen. For a while, the whole barrage was in a wail. Don't, Xiaoningza. We love to see these. Please pay to watch the black screen content, ha ha ha. Phew, it's all old perverts. Xiaoningza, don't pay attention to them, just send it to me privately. Can you raid Uncle 9? I'm a female player. The next day when the screen turned on again, Chen Xiaoning took the sedan chair arranged by the old man and went to the suburban cemetery together. At this time, the altar had been set up at the scene, and Uncle 9 was wearing a yellow robe and a 9-beam scarf, waiting with a solemn face. Chen Xiaoning also came, so he smiled and nodded at her. When everyone arrived, they began to offer incense. Chen Xiaoning looked at the vast grassland around him, surrounded by undulating mountains, and said with emotion, This place is really beautiful, it must be a treasure land of feng shui. Master Ren looked at her appreciatively, and said to Uncle 9 beside him, Yes, Uncle 9, Mr. Feng Shui said that this cemetery is rare in a good hole. Yes, this hole is called a dragonfly waterhole. Come, I'll test you. What kind of dragonfly waterhole? Uncle 9 said slowly with his hands behind his back, and by the way, he tested the 2 disciples of the school. When Wen Kai and Chusheng saw that the master threw the question over, they immediately scratched their ears and cheeks anxiously, and they were at a loss. Chen Xiaoning too. She already knows a little about this game. This is an opportunity to brush up on favorability. It's a pity that I can't. Looking at the barrage in his sight, Chen Xiaoning asked tentatively in a low voice, Does anyone know this question? I didn't have much hope, but in the next second, there was an ID called Little Taoist who wants to be a heavenly teacher, and immediately swiped a colorful barrage. Dragonfly. Waterhole. The hole is 3 zhong 4 long, only 4 feet can be used. 1 zhong wide and 3 zhong is only 3 zhong useful. It is a good burial method. What a capable person. Really, don't talk nonsense. I've never heard of it, you can't make it up. That's right, please, it's just a game. Little Taoist, you don't know how to pretend to understand, do you? At this time, far away in the Taoist temple of Longhu Mountain, a teenage Taoist priest was holding a mobile phone and smiling proudly, and said to the old Taoist priest in his 50s beside him, Master, you are so powerful, you even know this. Tell you to read more books on a regular basis, you prefer to play with your mobile phone. The little Taoist priest was said not to be afraid, and said with a smile, "No, now I know this knowledge point by playing with my mobile phone." The old Taoist priest was curious. "Oh, what is this looking at?" And mentioning the dragonfly dotting the waterhole. "A game live broadcast, master, take a look." As a result, the master and apprentice saw a screen full of doubts and complaints. Even the old Taoist priest who has cultivated Qi Kung Fu to the home frowns, not to mention the young and vigorous little Taoist priest, who suddenly burst into anger. "Nima Xiaodao is a decent family, and I still need to pretend to understand. I have a master." The fingers brushed and brushed on the screen. "Xiaodao Longhu Mountain's contemporary head and closed disciple. If you are not convinced, come to the offline debate." With such an arrogant self-destructing identity, the old Taoist priest did not stop it. As soon as the words floated out, the barrage was blank for a few seconds, and everyone was obviously shocked. Longhu Mountain has a pivotal position in the Xia Kingdom and is the interpreter of Taoist culture. Now this game has blown up the authoritative experts, and personally explained the content of the game. It's magical, isn't it? This game seems to be really unusual. Let me tell you, now my master is peeping at the screen, and those words just now are what my master said. And I am adding that this kind of dragonfly waterhole can only be buried by law, not by conventional flat burial. Everyone doesn't care about anything now, and they are all frightened by the fact that the head of Longhu Mountain peeps at the screen, and they only feel that their mobile phones are hot for a while, and they want to throw them away. And those people who just questioned are still inexplicably worried that they won't be killed by the head of the sect with a Dao Fa in the air, right? Chen Xiaoning also saw this barrage, and his heart was pounding. This netizen is so powerful. Even the head of Taoism is here, so you can't coax it. So I read it out quickly. Originally, Uncle Nine was about to get angry when he saw that these two bad people didn't know anything, but he saw Chen Xiaoning, who was standing aside, tell the answer. For a while, the scene was a little quiet. No one expected it to be this little girl who answered. Chen Xiaoning stroked his hair and smiled shyly. Uncle Nine glanced at her appreciatively. But when Kai opened his mouth and asked, "Miss Chen is so amazing. Master, what does a French funeral mean? Is it a French funeral?" "You have less and more mouth," looked at the excellent Chen Xiaoning, and when he turned around and saw such a stupid and simple apprentice in his own house, Uncle Nine was angry. When Chu Sheng saw that Wensai was scolded, he immediately asked Chen Xiaoning to save the scene, and frantically gave Chen Xiaoning a look. Chen Xiaoning couldn't help but laugh a little, glanced at the barrage, and then asked with some uncertainty, "Uncle Ju, the legal burial is a vertical burial, right?" Uncle Nine was also shocked. Could this girl be a Taoist genius? Uncle Nine. +6 opinion autumn student, +3 opinion. Wensai. +3 opinion earn a lot of money, so much favorability. Chen Xiaoning was ecstatic. Uncle Nine nodded and said, "Yes, the legal burial is a vertical burial. The so-called ancestors are buried vertically, and the descendants must be great." Master Ren also nodded. "Yes, that feng shui gentleman said so, but our Ren family's business has been getting worse and worse in the past 20 years, I don't know why." Uncle Nine frowned and said, "I think that Mr. Feng Shui has an enmity with you." "There is a grudge?" Not only were the people at the scene stunned, but even the sailors in front of the barrage didn't understand. Didn't they say that it was a good hole? How can it be related to hatred? The sailors listened and sent a barrage to ask the old master. It is usually difficult to meet such a fairy character. In the Taoist temple of Longhu Mountain, the little Taoist priest asked the old Taoist priest in confusion, "Master, is there a secret here?" The old Taoist priest had gray hair, but his eyes were blazing looking at the screen. He no longer regarded this as a game, and began to think about the meaning of the words of the ninth uncle. But if this little disciple finds out that he hasn't figured it out, won't it be a shame? It just so happened that Chen Xiaoning was also thinking at this time. His eyes looked at the location of the tomb, and the old Taoist priest suddenly had a flash of inspiration. "I know. There's something wrong with this tomb. There's something wrong with the ashes." The old man looked a little excited, as if he had been a few years younger. The little Taoist priest was also confused, so he sent the word, "for an ash," out. Just as the old Taoist priest and the little Taoist priest were explaining, Uncle Nine also spoke. Only then did everyone understand that this land belonged to Mr. Feng Shui back then, and it was coerced to take away, so he destroyed it in Feng Shui. The ash is covered on the tomb. This is harmful to you. It should be covered with snowflakes. This is called a dragonfly with water. The coffin head can't touch the water. How can it be called a dragonfly with water? Immeasurable Tianjun. Master, it's pretty much the same as you said. It seems that there are two brushes in this game. The little Taoist priest was shocked. The old boss smiled slightly, but did not speak. At this time, the barrage was also boiling, and all of them floated neatly over the old boss Niu Pai. Two words point out the problem. It is really unfathomable. Netizens suddenly realized. Look at the meaning of the old boss. This game is really not as simple as we imagined, very professional. It seems that you can't really play without some Taoist knowledge. I wonder if I can make a dragonfly point waterhole burial after I die? Uncle Nine is talking here, and the more Master Ren listens, the more solemn and worried his face becomes, and the cemetery has already begun to dig. Sure enough, the coffin was buried vertically. Uncle Ju said solemnly to everyone present. Everyone, today is the day when Ren Gungwei bravely sees the light of day. All those who are 36, 22, 35 and 48 years old, who belong to the chicken cow, will turn around and avoid it. Open the coffin. Everyone present was very conscious, at least the average person turned around. And Shen Xiaoning was stunned. She didn't know the specific situation of her role in the game at all, and now there are only two ways, either turn around or stand upright. Before she could make a decision, Uncle Nine had already ordered the coffin to be opened. As soon as everyone pulled out the coffin nails, the crows in the distance seemed to be frightened by something, and they all flew up. Uncle Nine frowned and looked at the coffin being opened. A thick puff of black smoke floated out of the coffin, and as soon as Chen Xiaoning saw the corpse of old Lady Ren clearly, he felt that the strange black smoke rushed straight into his face. Ah! Chen Xiaoning screamed, only to feel cold, but it returned to normal in a moment. Everyone looked at her, and Uncle Nine walked towards her with a solemn face. Why don't you turn around when your zodiac signs are in opposition? I don't know. Uncle Nine was speechless inside. Hey, from now on, you have to be careful in everything. You have committed a funeral taboo, causing the deceased to be restless, and you will also be haunted by bad luck for a while. Doom haunted. Inexplicably, it was lowered to a negative effect? Chen Xiaoning couldn't help but take a step back, but as a result, he stepped on the air and rolled directly down the grass slope. Fortunately, Shu Sheng next to him stretched out his hand quickly, and quickly pounced to pull her down, and didn't roll down the mountain, but fainted, and the screen went black. Chen Xiaoning was speechless, and the barrage was about to burst into laughter. The difficulty of the game has become hellish in an instant. I'm laughing to death. Is this zodiac clash really so evil? Fortunately, I strictly abide by it every time. Xiaoning's game path is too hard. Fortunately, the screen lit up after a while, and when I opened my eyes, I was in a familiar room. Are you awake? How do you feel? Uncle Nine's voice came from the door. Chen Xiaoning straightened up and looked. Sure enough, he was still at Uncle Ju's house. It's fine, I just don't feel good. Chen Xiaoning stretched his body and said, it was very awkward, like a rusty joint. It's like this to commit a white taboo. I told Master Ren, you just live in the village during this time, don't run around, otherwise something will really happen. Uncle Nine said with a straight face. At this time, the voices of Wen Kai and Chu Sheng came from behind him, and he hurriedly ran over, didn't bother to say hello to Chen Xiaoning, and directly handed the incense in his hand to Uncle Ju. Master, look, the 3 sticks of incense are burned like this. Uncle Nine took it and looked at it, and sighed slightly. Things are in trouble. Chen Xiaoning didn't know what changes had happened to the plot during the time he was in a coma, so he quickly got up and asked, what's wrong, Uncle Nine? Hey, go to Yizhuang and say. Then the 4 of them walked through the corridor, and in this short distance, Chen Xiaoning was tripped and hit the pillar again, which was extremely unlucky. When will my negative effect disappear? Chen Xiaoning said bitterly in his heart. Came to the room next to the coffin, and the middle was the coffin of the old lady Ren that had just been dug up today. Uncle Nine took the incense and frowned and said, People are most afraid of 3 long and 2 short, and the incense is the most taboo of 2 short and 1 long. Is it Master Ren's house? Wen Kai asked stupidly. Uncle Nine gave him a blank look. Could it be this? The little Taoist priest of Longhu Mountain asked suspiciously. Master, do you have a saying? The current head of the sect is also full of black lines. How can I not know this? Could it be the experience of the Maoshen sect? But now the Maoshen sect is long gone. How can I understand it? The contemporary head had to pretend to sigh. It's all lost. But master, how can it appear in this game if it is lost? The little Taoist priest asked innocently, looking at the master. The contemporary head of the house slapped the little Taoist priest directly. Watch the video. Watch the video. What is the noise? The little Taoist priest held his mouth aggrievedly and couldn't say a word. Wensai and Chusheng have already begged Uncle Nine to find a way. After all, Master Ren has a daughter who is as beautiful as a flower. Yes, Uncle Ju, Ren Tingting, she. Shen Xiaoning didn't want anything to happen to Ren Tingting. After all, she had just become acquainted. She was stunned as soon as she said half of the words, and she pointed at herself in disbelief and said, It seems like it's also Ren's family. People. No, it won't be so unlucky. Scared, yes, I almost forgot that you still have this identity. Chusheng also suddenly realized. Uncle Ju. Help. Shen Xiaoning roared, full of desire to survive. I've already thought of a way, otherwise why carry the coffin back? Said Uncle Ju. But it's strange, Mrs. Ren has been dead for more than 20 years and hasn't rotted yet. Chusheng said, and opened the coffin with Wensai. It's actually a blessing, Master, look, Wen Kai said in surprise. Shen Xiaoning cautiously came over and took a look. Sure enough, he was blessed. It was too weird, and he had long nails. Prepare paper, pen, ink, and swords, Uncle Nine hurriedly said. How do you know that? Wen Kai and Chu Sheng asked with a confused face. What? Uncle Nine was about to be angry with these 2 apprentices, so he said helplessly. Yellow paper, red pen, black ink, kitchen knife, wooden sword. After the things arrived, Shen Xiaoning asked, Uncle Nine, do you need help? Uncle Nine nodded, handed her the kitchen knife, then grabbed a chicken and stretched his neck, signaling Chen Xiaoning to move. Although Chen Xiaoning had never killed a chicken, he was not cowardly, and directly sealed his throat with a clean knife, and the chicken blood was sprinkled in the bowl on the altar. Uncle Nine took a step back, made a gesture, stretched out his hand to poke the rice and lit it on the candle flame, and threw it into the blood of the chicken to ignite it instantly. Then pour black ink and cover the gossip mirror, and flow the liquid into the ink fountain through gesture changes. This set of methods and means is smooth and free, and all netizens are stunned. Where have you ever seen such a mysterious method? You can't help but gasp. It's so handsome, coach, I want to learn. Old boss, is there any explanation for Uncle Nine's tricks? At Shangdang Tian Shi de Xiao Dao Shi. Is it true that all the Taoist priests are so powerful now? At Lao Zhongmen? Old master, will you? If you can, I will immediately become a Taoist priest. The old boss over there was also dumbfounded, and decades of Qi cultivation kung fu were instantly broken. He looked at Uncle Ju's routines dumbfounded, although he understood some of them, but many of them still didn't understand. Are also Taoist priests. Why do you have so many routines? Is it really the Maoshen sect that has been lost and unlearned? I don't know. I want to learn too. The old boss has already made up his mind. Since it's a game, then when it's released, I'll buy one and come back and play it secretly, and see if I can learn something new. But at this time, everyone else had already asked, and his own disciples had also seen it, so he had to mention everything he knew. What kind of ink fountain is used? Using the Dao finger and the 3 clear fingers, and the rooster's blood and yang qi are enough to ward off evil spirits and so on. Although it is not thoroughly explained, these rare knowledge are enough to shock people. I see, black dog blood should be the same thing. Understood. Take the chicken with you at any time in the future, you can ward off evil spirits. Chen Xiaoning poked Wensai with his elbow. What is this? It's an ink fountain. Chusheng explained. Master, where is the bullet? The whole coffin is up. Chen Xiaoning was very curious about zombies, and she believed that this group of sailors was more curious than her, so while they were playing ink fountains, She asked Uncle Nine. Uncle Nine, how are zombies formed? Yes, Master, we want to know too. Wen Kai Chusheng said in unison. When a corpse becomes a zombie, because of the extra breath, a person gets angry and holds his breath before he dies, and when he dies, he will have a breath in his throat. That's to die and be angry, hurting others and yourself. Chen Xiaoning thought so, and when he saw that Uncle Nine was lighting incense, he also wanted to go forward and order a few, hoping that old lady Ren would not harm her. As a result, the negative effect broke out, and before Chen Xiaoningshang could be plugged in, the soles of the whole person's feet slipped, and his head slammed heavily on the coffin, and he was suddenly blood red. Lying down, the pain came, making Chen Xiaoning convulse all over. Fortunately, the immersion device will reduce the pain according to the damage received by the player, but at most it will only be reduced by half, and Chen Xiaoning still feels pain. The key is not to the point of fainting, just hanging like this, half of the field of vision is stained with blood. Uncle Nine was dumbfounded. Is this girl's bad luck so terrifying? It seems that he still underestimated the power of this zombie. Quick, she's got too much blood, let's rush her to the hospital, Uncle Nine shouted. Chusheng was also anxious when he saw it, and immediately ran over to pick her up. You hold it, I'll ride it, Wensai. You go to Ren's house to make an announcement. Uncle Nine thought for a while and said. Master, why do you want to go to Ren's house? Wen Kai grabbed his hair and wondered. Do you have that much money to go to the hospital? Nope. Wen Kai smiled shyly, then don't you hurry up. Ah, good, Xiao Ningzi, you're too miserable, aren't you? For Xiao Ningzi, come, everyone continue to brush up the rocket. Let Xiao Ningzi know and be more gratified. Tut tut, it seems that some choices for playing this game in the future are very important. Chen Xiaoning saw that he was admitted to a hospital, and then doctors and nurses came to treat him. Ren Tingting also came later, and she was relieved to hear the doctor say that it was okay. It's really scary. Ren Tingting patted her chest and said. Chen Xiaoning had no choice but to smile awkwardly. At this time, it was already midnight, and Ren Tingting planned to stay with Chen Xiaoning. By the way, Master, the ink fountain is half played, and there is still a little left. Will it be okay to play it again tomorrow? Chusheng seemed to remember something, and said to the ninth uncle beside him. What, it's only halfway through. No, you have to go back and finish it. Uncle Nine looked stunned and said extremely seriously. Only then did Chusheng know the seriousness of the matter, so after saying goodbye to the two, he hurriedly followed Uncle Ju. What's wrong with them? Are they going back so late? Asked Ren Tingting puzzled. Chen Xiaoning doesn't understand either, but she has low blood now, and if she is weak, she can't keep up. This game can be skipped for sleeping, so it should be possible to skip the healing, right? Huh? Why can't it? Chen Xiaoning tried a few times but still couldn't do it, and he didn't know what was going on. The hospital at night was very quiet, and Chen Xiaoning lived in a single room because of Ren's family, which looked like a hotel. It's a little retro decoration, and I always feel a little infiltrated in this environment. Ren Tingting next to her had already fallen asleep in the other bed, breathing very slowly, while Chen Xiaoning felt very strange that she couldn't fall asleep at all. I can't fall asleep and I can't skip it. It's weird. This game won't bug anymore. There are also many people discussing it on the barrage. I always feel like something is going to happen. I have a bad feeling too. Ask for a high energy warning, hey. What do you think, old boss? Xiao Ningzi, you take it easy. Be careful that the female ghost from before came to the door again. The atmosphere was not right, and this group of sailors instigated again, which made Chen Xiaoning a little worried. His eyes looked around, hoping that he was thinking too much. In the silence of the night, a slight sound suddenly occurred in the hallway outside the door. There was a rhythmic, knock, 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 sound. It seemed to be the sound of something heavy falling on the ground, and it was getting closer and clearer. Chen Xiaoning's heart jumped to his throat, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. I've been playing the game for a while, and I've been so happy that I almost forgot that this Nima is a horror game. The nightmare of paper veneer is still vivid. This time I was weak, not like I could run before, and this feeling of being able to passively wait for danger to come is really bad. Chen Xiaoning's voice trembled and whispered, Ting Ting, Ting Ting, wake up. But Ren Ting Ting didn't seem to notice it, and still slept soundly. The sound outside the door was already very close. Chen Xiaoning's teeth were chattering, and she could clearly feel a cold breath outside the door. Boom! Suddenly, the sound stopped at the door. Before Chen Xiaoning could react, there was a loud bang, and the door of the ward was slammed open. At the dim doorway, the corpse of the old lady Ren was standing there, stretching out his hands and staring at her. The face was hideous, rotten, and the eyes were hollow, accompanied by a beast-like roar. Chen Xiaoning was already highly concentrated, and was frightened by this loud noise, and then it was the old lady who stood in front of him as a zombie. A cold breath exploded from the tail vertebrae, instantly expanding every pore of the whole body. Ah! The screams were uncontrollable, and they also woke up Ren Ting Ting, who was sleeping. Old lady Ren jumped on her feet and jumped to Chen Xiaoning's bed. The 1-foot-long gray-green nails were straight like 10 knives. She poked. Chen Xiaoning, who couldn't move, had extremely constricted pupils, and could only watch as the zombies strung her into a blood gourd, and then grabbed a bite to put on her neck. The terrifying footage didn't last long, but the screen went black in a few seconds. You're dead. Game failed. Wang Defa, it's really exciting. Zombies are so fierce. I thought they were all the same as the ones before, and they would be easily defeated. Please, it's different at first glance. Those before should be ordinary zombies, and this one is estimated to be a big boss. Damn, if you sleep like this in the middle of the night, you probably die suddenly. Lose my phone. When I just stuck it to my face, I reflexively dropped my phone. This game is quite difficult to play. Take one wrong step and it will be over. Anyway, isn't old lady Ren in a coffin? You stupid upstairs. Shusheng said that he only played half of it before. Uncle Ju's face was ugly. It may have something to do with it. He was run out as a zombie. The game is going to be released soon. The atmosphere in the live broadcast room has reached its peak, with a popularity of 500,000 plus. Even if Chen Xiaoning leaves temporarily, his popularity has not declined, but is still rising steadily, and everyone is frantically discussing the content just now. Gifts are flying all over the sky, airplanes, rockets are nothing, and the carnival is coming several. This may be the most popular live broadcast this year. With this result, Chen Xiaoning has definitely become a big anchor of the bullfighting platform. Tomato looked at the grand occasion in the live broadcast room enviously, and his career goal was actually surpassed by Xiaoning's. Hey, if this game is released or not, I want to play it too. It's not just Tomatoes, almost all the big anchors have been attracted tonight. Awa, Xiaozhou, and Haitzi have also been peeping at the screen for a long time, and I don't know how many private messages have been sent, but there is no news at all, and my heart is itching. However, Chen Xiaoning has not seen these yet. Even if she had faced a similar experience before, now that she had experienced it again, she was still trembling with fear and her brain was blank. I really feel like I'm going to die. Chen Xiaoning sat on the ground completely collapsed, feeling that his heart was about to be overloaded, and he was beating non-stop. The stamina of this game is too great, but the addiction is even greater. Chen Xiaoning looked up at the time. It's already past 1 o'clock in the night. After a few days in the game world, it was a bit slow to get back to reality. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Chen Yi opened the door and came in with a glass of water, and when he saw his sister who was lying on the ground, he smiled. How about it? Why don't you drink saliva first to suppress the shock? Chen Xiaoning shook his head violently, stood up with a brush, and hugged Chen Yi with a handful of bears. Brother, this game is too good played. Chen Xiaoning's fanatical eyes seemed to melt Chen Yi. Chen Yi was helpless. Although he was not too familiar with this cheap sister, his body and thinking habits were indeed very close. Okay, just have fun, brother. Is this game on sale? Such a great game should be known to the whole world. I'm the sister of the game producer. Chen Yi flicked his fingers on Chen Xiaoning's forehead and said with a smile, on sale. It will be open for download tomorrow morning. What, tomorrow morning? Chen Xiaoning couldn't believe his ears. My sister is so powerful tonight, she has made this game out of the circle. Of course it will be released tomorrow. Chen Yi rubbed his sister Chen Xiaoning's hair. Chen Xiaoning enjoyed it very much, although he was very disdainful of his brother's game level before, but now his brother has become a game producer. At this time, if you don't lick it, when will you? By the way, how much do you think the price is appropriate? Asked Chen Yi. Brother, you don't know that the unit price of the game I'm playing now is more than 300. This is still the basic price. If you want to play well, the game equipment or anything can't be less. That's the big head. My game account in Crossfire has already consumed tens of thousands of dollars. Chen Xiaoning stuck out his tongue as he spoke. But my consumption level can only be regarded as an intermediate player, mainly relying on technology. Those who recharge hundreds of thousands of people are not too many. All of them are gold coin players, and they can be similar to me as a professional player by relying on equipment. Brother, your game is so good, so I suggest that you price it for more than 1,000. Chen Yi was speechless. Is there really anyone who plays games and consumes so much? However, Chen Yi still felt that Chen Xiaoning's suggestion was inappropriate. Thousands of yuan was a threshold, and a large number of players would be directly screened out. In addition to making money, the most important thing for Chen Yi is to want the emotional value of the player. This is an important element that can last for a long time. It's too much for 1,000, let's still price it at 298, so that everyone can play. Chen Yi clapped his head. What? 298? Chen Xiaoning looked at his brother's affirmative eyes, couldn't help but admire, and gave him a thumbs up directly. Treat money as dung. Generate electricity for love, brother, atmosphere. Go, don't be poor, hurry up and announce it in the live broadcast room, Chen Yi said with a smile. With Chen Yi's encouragement, Chen Xiaoning sorted out his makeup and brought it into the live broadcast room again. As soon as he entered the live broadcast room, the screen was full of prompts for various gifts, and Chen Xiaoning's mouth was stunned, and his eyes were full of stars. It's so powerful, old irons. This night, she has been live streaming for 2 months, right? Although I didn't count it, it looked like at least hundreds of thousands at a glance. Chen Xiaoning hurriedly thanked everyone for their love. I've just made you wait for a long time, but I really can't get up. You also know that old lady Ren is too enthusiastic. Hearing that Chen Xiaoning could still ridicule himself, everyone was relieved and comforted. I really admire you as a girl who can go through this calmly. Xiaoning's a Niu Pai. Understand, you're already great. Being put in the face by ghosts and zombies one night, ha ha ha, Xiaoningza is so unlucky. Woo, I'm so envious, I want to play too. Hurry up and get on the link. Such a harmonious and loving live broadcast room is really rare. Chen Xiaoning was also very happy, and said with a smile. This game tonight was asked by my brother to test it, although I, like everyone, didn't care at all at first. As for the effect, I don't need to say more. The design of the game, the arrangement of the plot, and the details of the open-ended without dead ends are not at all comparable to those games on the market. Well, although I slapped myself in the face, but, for my brother, I'm willing. Chen Xiaoning said these words that everyone still agrees with. The content of this night is really eye-opening, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. With such an open game world and completely intelligent NPCs, there must be a lot of different gameplay and plots waiting for everyone to explore. If you want to get in touch with ghosts, you can play as a travel simulator, and even as an old-time social research. This doesn't look like a work of the same era at all. It's like a masterpiece that has gone through countless polishes and countless people's efforts to complete. Xiaoningza, just say where to download it, my money is ready. Yes. My helmet is already hungry, hurry up, let's just say whether to sell it or not. Uncle, what conditions? Say it directly, Chen Xiaoning smiled. Having said so much, I believe everyone wants to play it too, so will this game be sold later? Chen Xiaoning deliberately paused to buy a pass, and the entire barrage suddenly fell silent. Everyone stopped typing and teasing in their hands, and quietly looked at Chen Xiaoning on the screen. Of course it's for sale. The time is here, tomorrow. Tomorrow at 12 o'clock at noon. The sale will start on time, Chen Xiaoning said proudly. Boom. The live broadcast room suddenly exploded. Because it is an immersive device, Chen Xiaoning can see rockets, airplanes, unicorns, carnivals and other miscellaneous gifts floating from all directions. Those who look at it are dazzled. Tomorrow. Wait, my heart can't stand it. Give me a quick heart pill. It's cool, It's so sincere, uncle, I can't wait, stay up tonight. I want to play but don't dare to play, what should I do? I'm afraid of female ghosts, I'm afraid of the dark. The water friends are enthusiastic and crazy to brush the barrage. This feeling of wanting to sleep immediately after sleeping is so refreshing. When? How much does it cost? The familiar little Taoist ID floated by with rainbow colors, which calmed down a little for all the sailors who were blushing because of excitement. Yes, I almost forgot about the price. This unprecedented game should be expensive. It's okay. A good game should be expensive, after all, the cost is immeasurable. Yes, I'd rather pay a higher price. Let my uncle return to his roots, and make more and higher quality games in the future. Weakly speaking, I'm poor, as long as it's not too high, I have to grit my teeth to support it. Buy it, buy it. It seems that everyone is very tolerant of the price, but also, this game is cross-era after all. Ideographic period. I saw Chen Xiaoning with his hands on his hips, his chin slightly raised, and said arrogantly, "Cheesy, it's too cheesy. Is my brother making games for money? Didn't I say before?" He was very disappointed in the games we played, and felt that they were all rubbish, so I felt that I would take out the games I had made for many years and benefit everyone. Sailors also praised at the right time. Yes, yes, if anyone dared to say that I was rubbish, I would have sprayed him to death. I'm punishing myself with 3 glasses. Chen Xiaoning saw that the atmosphere was almost over, and said directly, "So, the price of this game is not 998, not 698, as long as 298. The zombie game is brought home. As 298? Really 298? Uncle, if you are kidnapped, you will squeak. 298, I'll buy 20 copies directly, and I'll give them to everyone." How does this make other game manufacturers live? But, no matter how they live, this is a game of conscience. That's a price that's just a blessing to the world. Uncle brother is mighty. Chen Yi, who was standing aside drinking water and peeping at the screen, directly squirted out a sip of cold white, and almost didn't choke to death. Ahem, ahem. Why is this line so familiar? This damn familiar. This little girl still has some skills, and she knows that she will raise everyone's expectations and then reverse it. Tisk, it's really condescending to sell goods on the live broadcast. Although it was almost 2 o'clock in the middle of the night at this time, Chen Xiaoning, who had turned off the live broadcast, couldn't sleep at all, and didn't dare to sleep. With the lights on and the quilt wrapped, I still couldn't relax a little bit, and I always looked at the position of the window door inexplicably, for fear that something would run out and be scary. Twice a night, who can stand it? After rolling on the bed for a while, Chen Xiaoning still got up angrily with a pout, and ran to the door of Chen Yi next door with the quilt pillow and knocked on the door. At this time, Chen Yi was yawning and preparing to sleep, and when he opened the door, he saw Chen Xiaoning running in unceremoniously with his head down. He began to lay a quilt on the ground and put a pillow on it, and then lay down comfortably. "Brother, good night, you big-headed ghost." Chen Yi looked at her speechlessly. "What are you going to do again? Go back to your room." "Don't, brother, I may not be able to sleep tonight. You will be responsible for me if this happens," Chen Xiaoning said with a pitiful wink. Chen Yi hurriedly stopped. "You can eat indiscriminately, don't talk nonsense. What are you responsible for? It's all strange that my stinky brother's game is so real. I can't tell the difference between the game and reality. It scares me to death. Can't I be a paperman?" Chen Xiaoning just muttered a few words of complaint. If he really wanted to be a paperman, it is estimated that the effect would not be so explosive. Just because of this? When did you become so bold? Weren't you very sassy when you saw a headshot before? Can that be the same? Chen Xiaoning pouted dissatisfied. Seeing that she hugged the quilt tightly, she really didn't want to leave, and Chen Yi had no choice but to let her mess around, and she didn't rush to sleep with me anyway. Turned off the light, Chen Xiaoning finally settled down after listening to Chen Yi's breathing, and gradually fell asleep. On the other side, in the Taoist temple of Longhu Mountain, the little Taoist priest was pacing back and forth with excitement after hearing the price. Suddenly, the little Taoist priest took a deep breath and whispered to the old master, "Master, let's experience it, shall we?" Seeing that the master squinted his eyes and did not answer, the little Taoist priest who knew the master's character suddenly felt happy in his heart, immeasurable Tianjun. So while it's hot, hit the railroad. The game will be released tomorrow at noon, but you have to buy an immersive helmet before you buy it. Huh? The old master's half-squinted eyes suddenly squinted at him? The little Taoist priest suddenly felt like an enlightenment, and a flash of inspiration flashed him, and he hurriedly changed his words. One is really not enough. You have to have two. The master is one and I have one, he. Only then did the old man retract his eyes, stroked his beard, nodded with satisfaction, and said with relief. It's all for the study of the Tao law. Yes, it's all for the sake of the Tao. The two looked at each other and smiled tacitly, and said in unison, immeasurable, heavenly, venerable. In the early hours of the morning, although the live broadcast room was closed, this also caused the sailors who had nowhere to vent their enthusiasm to pour in all directions like a flood. Various post-bar forum chat groups have risen up the topic of open zombie games, which is often a sentence from water friends. Have you watched Xiao Ning's live broadcast tonight? That game is simply explosive? Then there were all kinds of discussions, telling the awesomeness of the game. With a large population and the development of technology, almost every household has an immersive device, and games are a new thing, which is the time to attract people. You can imagine how many gamers there are in Sha Kingdom. And major information websites such as Scarf, Duniang, etc. have also begun to appear hot searches about this game, and they have been pushed up step by step. Those who don't play games and don't understand the situation are also alarmed, and they are a wave of Amway, and they are indeed out of the circle. And some sailors have long released Chen Xiaoning's live broadcast video and sent it everywhere to show off. The videos of the past few hours have long been spread everywhere, and the number of hits on the bullfighting platform alone has already reached millions. Almost every refresh is updated with tens of thousands of hits. Netizens were enthusiastic and left crazy messages below the comment area. Damn, I missed this great moment by working overtime tonight. The light of domestic games, brother-in-law is the sky. I want to brush it 3 times, but I'm too sleepy, I have to play tomorrow. It's been less than 12 hours since the sale started. I'm so excited, gentlemen. My wife is afraid of ghosts. I'm going to let her play. Brothers, am I doing this right? What kind of company is this? I can't find any information at all. It can't be a lie. Upstairs, the game videos are out, and I can still lie to you about that 298? The money is ready, the equipment maintenance is up to date, and the will be rushed on time at noon tomorrow. There are those who explain the ins and outs of the game, there are high-profile rainbow farts, and of course, there are also questions about whether it is fake. After all, there is not too much false propaganda in the game circle. But all these doubts are buried in the rhetoric. Because of the time difference, it was already late at night on the Sha Kingdom's side, and it was still daytime on the other half of the planet. In today's day and age, there is no time difference at all, and the connection is basically seamless. Some game enthusiasts have used machine translation software to simply translate Chen Xiaoning's game video, and then quickly uploaded it to foreign websites. This is a time to raise your eyebrows, and you can't just let your countrymen laugh at themselves. In recent years, the game atmosphere in foreign countries has been very different from that in China. Most Chinese people still prefer to play those Krypton games, and they like competitive games, so there are more online games. In foreign countries, they pay more attention to the quality and experience of the game, and pay attention to the diversity of gameplay, so there are more standalone games. Although these entertainment industries have only been developed for a few years, they have formed 2 different types of players with such different styles. It's just that Sha Guo's game is really not very good, and it has always been at the bottom of the chain of contempt and is looked down upon. Without him, it is really a bit notorious internationally. The picture quality is sparse, the commercial flavor is strong, there is no sense of experience, gold coin players, Krypton gold gacha, plugins, etc. are basically the basic cognition of foreign players on Sha Guo games. Domestic game producers also ignore these and concentrate on closing their doors to make money, which also leads to the worse and worse Sha Guo games, and the reputation is getting bigger and bigger. So when this video was uploaded, many foreign netizens smiled disdainfully when they saw that the ID was Sha Guo. Even if you take the title as the greatest game of our generation, there is no other, there is no bottom line, everyone will just treat it as a sensationalism. A lot of people have already clicked in, ready to see what it is and laugh at it, which is also a basic operation. At the beginning of the video, it was really a female anchor evaluation like this. Although this girl is very beautiful, but I'm sorry, we still won't show mercy when we pull out the knife. It's just that after the female streamer entered the game, she didn't expect it, and everyone was shocked. Nima. Is this really a game? Are you sure you're not fooling us with a movie? The picture quality is delicate and the modeling is perfect, and there is such an intelligent AI technology? Seamless dialogue? And the gameplay of this open game world is all new ideas and technologies. It is said that the game is a second life experience, but the general game is still not fully immersed. But this one is different. Once you enter, you really don't feel like you're playing a game, but you're experiencing another life. Oh my god. When did Sha Guo become so capable? Have you been hiding it, just waiting for today's enlarged moves? If this game is true, then there is no other game on the market that can compare to it, and this is the god-like existence. Because it was too shocking and too advanced, many people couldn't believe it, so they had to send the video to some well-known foreign game anchors for professionals to come and see. But even professional gamers are in a circle. Where have you ever played this? Foreign conspiracy theories are rife, and most people still suspect that the video is fake. Cut. If Sha Guo has the strength to develop this game, I will eat Shang live, the well-known anchor of Yibang country tweeted directly. Many people in the country of sticks below are praising and commenting. As a big game country, Neon and MI netizens don't seem to be able to accept this fact, but follow the trend and ridicule. Ha ha ha. I guess it's another skin-changing card game. Isn't this their usual routine? I used to play inferior online games, but now I suddenly come up with such a bullish game, and there is no trace of development at all. It's too fake, it's too fake. I think it's cut out of a movie game, haha. In the past, if most of the Chinese people were sprayed, it would be forgotten. Now there's really a game, and you're still spraying blindly. So who can bear it? Even if you stay up late, you have to squirt back, so the whole extranet becomes noisy. Until another Big V posted. There is new news. Tomorrow at 12 noon Sha Guo time, the game will be on the shelves of the whole network. Is it really clear then? The Chinese people nodded. This is indeed the case. There is really no need to make trouble now. It is better to raise your spirit and wait for the fun. Netizens who have been expressing their disbelief before are also stunned, and it will be released tomorrow? And the stick anchor who posted that he was going to live broadcast Shangshang was shocked, and an ominous premonition shrouded his heart. Shiba. It can't be true. I wanted to delete the tweet silently, but when I clicked on the comments, it was all a weird smile from Sha Goran, and some people said that they had taken screenshots. Now it's a pit. What the outcome will be we'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out. The next morning, when Chen Yi got up, he also took a special look at his sister who was sleeping on the ground, and found that only the quilt and pillow were left, and the person disappeared inexplicably. Where did you go? Chen Yi was a little surprised. He actually slept very shallowly, and he could wake up immediately with a little trouble, but he really didn't hear the sound of Chen Xiaoning opening and closing the door. Didn't go out, but the person disappeared. Didn't you encounter a supernatural event? Or did your sister paper pass through like herself? Chen Yi hurriedly got out of bed to check. As a result, instead of touching the familiar ground, the foot guessed something soft, what seemed to be the hand. Then a cry of pain came from under the bed, followed by a bang against the plank. Very coherent. Chen Yi lowered his head and saw Chen Xiaoning crawling out from under the bed with his hair scattered, looking at Chen Yi with extreme resentment. You're going to die. Hide down and scare your brother. Chen Yi was taken aback. Chen Xiaoning cried and mourned, rubbing his forehead and said, How'd I know that if I fall asleep, I will roll under the bed? Besides, you still stepped on my hand, causing me to suddenly get up and hit my forehead under the bed, and it hurt me to death. At this time, Chen Xiaoning was like a fried cat constantly accusing Chen Yi of his viciousness, and Chen Yi was dumbfounded when he saw it, and his mood was suddenly very beautiful. In addition to being tsundere, this sister is quite cute. Chen Yi looked at the chattering sister paper, unconsciously reached out to rub her hair, and said with a smile. Okay. Brother apologizes to you. Quick, go wash up, and then make breakfast for me. HMPH. Chen Xiaoning pouted and walked away arrogantly. Chen Yi began to sit in front of the computer after washing up briefly, ready to upload the game files to the platform. The cloud platform of the immersive device is still very easy to operate, and Chen Yi has an account himself, but for the convenience of the game's release, he still changed his name and debuted as an independent producer. The name of the studio is called Orange Yi Studio. Chen Yi thought about it, or enter this name, without him. The homophonic stock is easy to remember. And the game file system has already been sorted out and optimized for him. Chen Yi only needs to connect the helmet to the computer, click upload, and the official game name is Zombie World. The benefits of technology in this world are obvious, but in just 10 minutes, such a huge game has been uploaded. It just so happened that at this time, Chen Xiaoning came in with milk and a butter toast and put them in front of Chen Yi. "Brother, have breakfast. Hey, it's done." Chen Xiaoning saw the words 298 typed in his brother's hand, and he didn't know why he couldn't breathe because of the heartache, as if countless money had disappeared in front of him. She wanted to continue to dissuade, and even said that he lacked heart, but thinking of her brother's methods, Chen Xiaoning still swallowed the words that came to her mouth. Chen Yi was very satisfied, and casually set up a 12 o'clock punctual release. "When everything is done, I started to eat my sister's breakfast. Speaking of the hands from the sister's paper, it's really good." At this time, a countdown appeared on the release page of Zombie World on the screen, and there were more than 3 hours until 12 o'clock. As time beats, Chen Xiaoning's heart is also accelerating. At the same time, young people across the country are listlessly heading to work. "There's no way. It's already late after last night's video. I still have to go to work today. Can you not be sleepy?" Awa too, yawning and going to squeeze the bus. Although she is a big anchor of bullfighting, she is only a part-time worker, and she still has to commute to work like a normal person during the day. But today she has been absent-minded, even if she has sat at her desk. One of the pages of the computer is also the homepage of the cloud game platform, where the countdown to Zombie World is displayed. The company's progress throughout the morning seemed to be mired in a quagmire, and it was difficult to push forward, but strangely enough, the boss didn't seem to be in a hurry. This doesn't fit the boss's personality at all, Ah Wah wondered. Finally stayed up until 11 o'clock, Ah Wah stopped the work at hand, and was ready to ask the boss for leave, so she wouldn't come in the afternoon. As a big game streamer, how can you be absent from such a feast? As a result, as soon as the person walked into the boss's office, he found that it was crowded with people, and Ah Wah only knew it when he heard it. "Good guys, they're all here to ask for leave. It's okay, she can understand, everyone wants to play," and what surprised her the most was, "Damn, the boss ran away first. Since the bosses have run away, what are you going to play?" Everyone broke up and went home. When Ah Wah went downstairs, she found that the street, which would have been crowded at noon, was empty, and there were few people left. And the subway and buses are all crowded with people, all going home. On the same day, a social news made the headlines of major websites, causing an uproar. The title is, "The Release of a Game Causes Half of Society to Shut Down." At noon, Chen Xiaoning didn't cook himself, and was ready to die in front of the computer. She won't die without seeing the number of downloads. Chen Yi also understands that because of the death of both parents, the brother and sister came out to work very early, and they didn't finish college, so they also cared more about the concept of money, so they went with her, ready to order a takeaway. As a result, the takeaway arrived, and the power went out at home suddenly. "Brother, screen is black," came my sister's annoyed cry from the room. "Yes, come out to eat." Chen Yi was very calm and said indifferently. "Brother, aren't you worried? There are still 6 minutes before the release?" Chen Xiaoning was more anxious than Chen Yi, and walked out of the room with a pouting dissatisfied, and scolded the broken house at the end. Chen Yi shook his head with noodles. The quality of this game is obvious to all, so there's nothing to worry about, but this old community has been a little bit out of power recently. Chen Yi looked at his sister's crowded room, and suddenly said, "Old sister, let's change to a big house when we have money." Chen Xiaoning's face suddenly turned cloudy, and he said in surprise, "Okay, good, I've long been tired of this landlord, the price has increased every year, and I can't afford to rent it." For a while, the power outage and the game were forgotten, and the two discussed the matter of buying a house. By the time we finished eating and cleaning up, the electricity was almost here. At this time, 15 minutes had passed since 12 o'clock, and Shen Xiaoning turned on the computer as soon as possible to refresh the cloud platform. Almost at the moment of refreshing, Shen Xiaoning clearly saw that the number of downloads changed from 0 to 65,739 in a flash. The two looked at each other. The first thing Chen Yi thought of was money and emotional value, and Shen Xiaoning had already converted it in his mind, almost more than 18 million. More than 18 million. In just a moment, brother, you pinch me, I'm not dreaming. Shen Xiaoning was stunned, his eyes widened in disbelief. Chen Yi rubbed her hair and said dotingly, "It's not a dream, you see, the house you want has arrived, and the hard days of our brothers and sisters are over." "Wow, brother. I love you to death." Shen Xiaoning was so excited that he hugged Chen Yi firmly and shook violently. Unlike Chen Yi's hindsight, when it was close to 12 o'clock, almost the eyes of players around the world were already fixed on the download page, waiting for time to return to zero. The download button pops up at the point, and they are all clicked at the same time. This also caused the backend server to almost crash, but luckily it withstood the test, and everyone got their wish to download the famous game. Among them, domestic players are the most anxious, and everyone is waiting for the progress bar to be completed and quickly experienced. Foreign players, on the other hand, are still a little skeptical, ready to open the game and take a look. YouTube, the largest video website abroad. At this time, on the live broadcast page, the neon anchor who had already downloaded the game was debugging in the live broadcast room. "It's been downloaded, it's this icon, it looks mediocre." In fact, he is still a person who is willing to believe in the quality of this game, and he is very fanatical about all kinds of games from a big game country, so he also logged in as soon as possible. Without further ado, let's just play and see if it's as good as rumored. Then click on the icon to enter the game. Like the video, there is no opening CG, no plot introduction, and it appears directly in the wilderness at night. The wind was a little cool at night, and the neon anchor shivered, completely shocked by the real picture in front of him. Nani? Really the same as the video? The neon anchor couldn't believe it, and then made a move that all netizens didn't expect, and directly lay on the ground and kissed the earth. "It's amazing, it's another world." However, the neon anchor didn't delay for too long. He remembered that there seemed to be a ghost after the video, and quickly stood up and ran forward. Everything is the same as in the video, with the courtyard. Knocked on the door, and it was still that familiar face, which seemed to be called Wensai. The neon anchor opened his mouth to ask for help, but the imaginary picture of the other party helping did not appear. I saw that the other party was blocking the door, frowning and saying dissatisfied, at hash. The neon anchor was dumbfounded, and, all, listen, no, understand. Isn't there a translation for this game? Sure enough, when Kai over there was also puzzled. The guy on the other side was still a man, and he was immediately not interested, so he shook his hand impatiently and closed the door. The neon anchor looked up at the sky and wanted to cry without tears. "Don't bring it like this." Before he finished speaking, a strange children's voice sounded behind him. His eyes, his eyes. The neon anchor stiffened his neck and slowly turned his head. Not only neon players, but also gamers in the United States have quickly transformed from the initial shock to the last desire to cry without tears. Protest, protest. There is no translator, it shouldn't be. Kneel and beg for a translator. My God, what a wonderful game this is. Fortunately my Chinese level 9, there is no pressure to play at all. Didn't anyone talk about the ghost at the beginning? I almost got scared. After all, but the one that should be played is not pulled down, and if you don't understand it, it's better than sign language, and there are always more ways than difficulties. How can you get stuck in a little puzzle? After Chen Yi understood the situation, he quickly solved the translation problem, and asked the system to make adjustments. Perfectly translates several common languages to satisfy players from all over the world. And Shen Xiaoning won't broadcast live today, so he just holds his mobile phone and keeps watching. On average, it refreshes every few seconds, and looking at the skyrocketing number of downloads, my eyes narrowed into a slit, and my mouth let out an unconscious laugh of hee hee hee. Chen Yi was a little worried that this little girl was stimulated and went crazy. Jeji. 800,000. More than 200 million. Shen Xiaoning's eyes were full of gold coins. Although the platform will take a 10% commission at that time, it is only a drizzle. If there is a certain amount of money, it is really just a number. Don't worry, Chen Yi said with a smile. According to his vision, this open game world will be themed around Mr. Zombie, and then extend countless DLC plots, not only Uncle Zombie, Zombie Supreme, One Eyebrow Douran, and other richer game plots. In the future, the online function will be opened, and then it will be hot. However, if you want to complete it step by step, it should take a lot of emotional value. Chen Yi glanced at the system panel. It has been 5 hours since it was opened for downloading, and the 800,000 downloads and the emotional value gained are only more than 100,000. If you don't have a starter pack, it would take 100,000 emotions to make a Mr. Zombie, and now this amount of emotion can only be made again. With the increase in the number of downloads of the game, all the live streaming platforms have specially separated the column of Zombie World. It's not okay not to distinguish it. Now as long as you click on any live channel, it's all the live broadcast of this game. And the number of people in each live broadcast room is quite high. It seems to attract the popularity of other categories. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in the live broadcast room of bullfighting, Tomato started the live broadcast of the game. As the former #1 streamer on the bullfighting platform, Tomato is ready to rely on this game today to get back what belongs to him. Okay, don't push it, let's have fun. I don't look at other people's things. I'm waiting for you, Tomato. You give it a little hard. Don't say anything else. Let's help us get a look at Ren Ting Ting first. The rocket plane is enough. It's been a long time since I've seen Tomato play a horror game. Prepare an extra pair of pants, hey. How enthusiastic the water friends are. It still smells like that. Tomatoes are very pleased. What's the matter? Let's just say it. This game, I'm sure to conquer it. No matter what kind of demons and monsters he is. Push it all sideways. Tomato waved his hand and said proudly. Adjust the helmet to the most comfortable position and Tomato enters the game. Like all first-time players, Tomato is also extremely emotional about the experience of the game. God. If he hadn't actually seen the game with his own eyes, he would have thought that person was stupid if someone had described it that way. After the details are slowly explored, I will first pass the teaching level in front of me and then talk about it, Tomato thought to himself. They are all from the Shaw Kingdom, and the tomatoes are pushed all the way according to Chen Xiaoning's experience. Avoided all the pits that Xiao Ningzi had stepped on, and it is estimated that players around the world will have to thank her. It's just that the more I think about it, the more I feel that Xiao Ningzi is so pitiful, lying thunder for everyone. Netizens couldn't help but think about it. It was okay before, but when I saw Master Ren, I was still confirmed as a distant relative of the Ren family, and Tomato knew that this identity could not be changed. The next plot is also clear, and Tomato is determined. In that case, I'm going to experiment with some other ways to play as well. In response to the call of netizens, Tomato is ready to launch a love offensive against Ren Ting Ting, to see if it can really be tackled. If it can really be done, then this soft rice in the future, oh no, this game experience must be great. So when drinking coffee, Tomato put all his energy on Ren Ting Ting, who met for the first time. Sister Ting. Speaking of which, we are still relatives. Are you free later? Brother Eggplant will take you around the town. Sister Ting. I don't know if you have been abroad for so long, do you have a favorite object? Sister Ting. Do you know the difference between you and the stars in the sky? The stars are in the sky, and you are in my heart. Do you smell anything, and why is it that when you get closer, the air is sweet? Although Tomato has never been in love, I have watched a lot of film and television works, and I have collected a lot of local love stories, which finally came in handy today. It's just that the appearance, the greasy means, the netizens who watched it had a chill. Together with the ninth uncle at the table, Master Wen Chiron was all dumbfounded, and the chat here was always interrupted by a greasy feeling. Although Master Ren is still smiling, the green tendons on his forehead are looming. Tomato hurriedly stopped and smiled awkwardly. Uncle 9. -1 favorability. Wensai. -3 favorability. Don't you have such a groove? Tomato was speechless for a while. However, Ren Ting Ting became curious about tomatoes, and began to take the initiative to talk to him. Audience guys, it seems that there is really a play, Tomato Ecstasy. Seeing that there is feedback on such a garbage pickling method, the live broadcast room is boiling. Gifts are flying from all directions. Cow, cow, even the heroine can hook up. You can really do this, Tomato. Ahem. Let me ask you for you, is there a paid link? It's okay. How much money do you quote? The style of the game has changed abruptly. I'm laughing to death. I really didn't know that the next plot would deviate if you did this, so I'm looking forward to it. The sailors chatted and began to make some suggestions on how to play the game. But Tomato didn't have time to look at it at this time. Now that he is moving the coffin, he has relied on the knowledge he memorized before to brush up on Uncle Ju's favor. It's just that Wensai and Chusheng's favorability is -2, which should have something to do with him soaking Ren Ting Ting. The two of them had already tacitly acquiesced to him, an outsider, as a competitor. And the appearance of Captain Ah Wei broke the harmonious situation. Tomato's side was courteous, and Captain Ah Wei interrupted, and even quietly knocked him away, looking at him with a daze. It made Tomato very annoyed, and wanted to secretly get rid of this NPC several times, but I was worried that something would happen to the game. After all, it was too real. Moved the coffin down the mountain, this time because the Tomato turned around and did not commit a taboo, so the unlucky thing did not happen. But I thought that Xiao Ningzi was inexplicably found by the old lady Ren this night, and died miserably. It is impossible for Tomato's cowardly character to leave himself alone in the Ren family, and he has no sense of security at all, so he went directly to the door to find Uncle Nine in the evening. Only this man can give him a sense of security. Netizens are also looking forward to it, because they know that there should be a big drama tonight, Uncle Nine versus zombies. It's exciting to think about. I really don't know what you think. Is the Ren family's bed uncomfortable? Wen Kai said a few words dissatisfied, but still took him to the guest room to rest. It's comfortable but not at ease. By the way, where is Ren Gong's coffin? Wen Kai nodded. You're going to sleep there tonight too? Yes, I was supposed to take care of Yijuang. Tomato looked at Wen Kai pitifully, and his heart softened and he was ready to save his life. Otherwise, you will sleep with me at night. Fuck off, I'm not good at this. Wen Kai ran away. Tomato was stunned on the spot. Since you're looking for death, don't care. That night, Tomato was frightened in the room, listening to the sound with his ears sideways. He was not far from Uncle Ju's room, and he screamed as soon as there was a situation. It's just that when I close my eyes and open them, it's actually dawn outside. Damn, you can actually skip it. Tomato was shocked. It seems that this night is different from Xiao Ningzi. There must be something wrong. Tomato carefully reviewed the comparison and found that it was very likely to be related to the ink fountain coffin. It seems that zombies should not be able to escape, so I can finally rest assured. Tomato breathed a sigh of relief. Water friends are a little disappointed. The big drama didn't appear, but fortunately, there are new developments in the plot. Early the next morning, Tomato followed Uncle Nine back to Ren's house. Uncle Nine mainly discussed the reselection of the cemetery, so he went upstairs with Master Ren to discuss. You two are here to behave. Before leaving, Uncle Nine also told the two disciples. Wensai Chusheng nodded his head, looking at the Tomato with envy. How good it would be if he could be a disciple of Uncle Ju. The big guys all went up, and Tomato saw Ren Ting Ting arranging flowers on the side, so he went up with a smile and said hello, Sister Ting. Hey, what are you doing here? You're sneaky trying to steal something. Captain Ah Wei was in a hurry, and hurriedly came over to interrupt. Wensai Chusheng was also about to come over to say hello. Looking at the situation for a while, this person was really hateful. Cousin, don't be like this. They are all relatives. Ren Ting Ting was also very helpless when she saw Captain Ah Wei being so arrogant. But Ah Wei didn't see it at all, and still said arrogantly, You stay away, and the two of you, don't get so close. You want to rub oil. My cousin wants to scold you, but she's just embarrassed. Saliva is sprayed on the face. How can you bear it? Tomato stepped forward and wanted to punch him, but Ren Ting Ting saw that something was wrong and immediately stopped between the two of them, and said angrily, Don't make a fuss. Tomato is angry, specially, and let the NPC scold. Bad luck. Suddenly, Tomato saw Wen Kai walking behind Ah Wei, plucking one of his hairs, and said in amazement, White hair, it is decrepit before it grows old. Tomato wanted to laugh, but before he could laugh, his hair was pulled off violently. Shusheng said, "Why do you have it too? Go, go, don't make a fuss. Tomatoes are ashamed of their childish behavior. It's still not a man, and you can still bear it if you're sprayed like this." I saw that the two men went out as if nothing had happened, and said that they would go to the garden. "Ah Wei. Stand up. I'll fight you alone. Tomato is ready to beat him once, and the hemp egg is not endless, right? And I'm live broadcasting. Can't be a shame for the player." In front of his sweetheart, Ah Wei was not at all intimidated. He stood up and said, "Come on, come. Who is afraid of whom?" "You." Ren Ting Ting said anxiously. "Sister Ting, this is a matter between men, don't worry about it." Tomato was highly substituted for the role at this moment, and said with righteousness and awe. Netizens applauded. "Tomato awesome. Give the NPCs a little color. The dignity of the player cannot be lost. Ha ha ha. The way of Tomato is really so fun. Do you complete a supernatural game into a funny love triangle game? I've long seen that this Captain Ah Wei is not pleasing to the eye, fuck him." The atmosphere became solemn, and Tomato and Ah Wei stood on either side of the living room, staring straight at each other. It's like two cowboys with guns to see who strikes first. Ren Ting Ting rubbed her hands nervously, and could only be anxious. The next moment, Ah Wei moved. He rushed forward with lightning speed, his hands outstretched like an eagle soaring. The tomato also moved, and it was also like a leopard of thunder, rushing towards Ah Wei with no indomitable speed. Ren Ting Ting had closed her eyes in fear, and couldn't bear to see them kill each other. The sailors widened their eyes even more, ready to see the brave posture of the tomato, a move to defeat the enemy. The two of them quickly approached. The battle was about to break out. The next moment, but it surprised everyone, Tomato and Ah Wei looked down at their hands and feet in shock, and looked up at each other rushing towards them. And then, the two hugged each other tightly, twisting and dancing bewitchingly, and the killing atmosphere drifted away with the wind. "Don't come here. Get out of here. What's the matter with your hands? What are you touching around? You think I want to? I can't control myself at all. Fuck you, uncle. Take your stinky face away. You mind yourself. Why are you undressing?" The scene became chaotic. Ah Wei looked disgusted, and Tomato looked sad and angry, but the two still refused to let go of each other. "It's like a lover in love, hot. You. What are you doing?" Ren Ting Ting opened her eyes like a lightning strike, and was frightened by this absurd scene to retreat again, and immediately turned around and said anxiously, "Don't be here, Sister Ting. We can't control ourselves." Tomato explained, grief-stricken. "It's just that this explanation is better than no explanation." Ren Ting Ting obviously misunderstood, and her face was flushed with shame. "But you also have to control it. This is in public. Can't you go back to the house by yourself?" "The more I explain, the more confusing it becomes." God. Tomatoes were struck by Ah Wei's fat, and 2 lines of tears slipped through the corners of his eyes. The barrage is going crazy with laughter. A well-known and popular game anchor in Shaw Kingdom, he actually did such a thing in the game. Moral degradation. "Tomato, tell me, how did you make the game look like this? My stomach hurts so much from laughing. If you hadn't seen it from the beginning to the end, you would have thought that you were directing and acting yourself." "Mom, it's too spicy. Wash my eyes. Ha ha ha." The famous scene. The screen has been recorded. Tomato, remember to give Hush money. "What are you doing?" At this moment, a familiar voice came from the staircase. Tomato saw Uncle Nine rushing down like a god. "Here comes the savior." Tomato shouted hoarsely, "Uncle Nine, I can't control myself, am I evil?" I saw that Uncle Nine gave him a positive look, and then ran out of the gate. Out of the gate. The gate is up. The door is up, up. Tomato was stunned. "What are you doing?" I saw Uncle Nine standing at the door and reaching out to grab it, trapping Chusheng, who was hiding aside, and then punching him in the stomach. Chusheng screamed in pain, and then spit out a yellow thing in his mouth. Seeing him spit it out, Tomato let go, and the feeling of being manipulated disappeared. Then Uncle Nine did the same to Wen Kai, and Ah Wei lay on the ground weakly. He looked at these people viciously, but he didn't have the strength to move. There are still control skills. Tomato was surprised and speechless. These two guys actually used such a Taoist method to their own numb eggs. I also want to learn. Shu was the sequelae of being cast, and Tomato was weak, lying on the bed in the room and not wanting to move at all. Just skip it and take it as a sleep and rest, not to mention, the effect is quite good, although in the blink of an eye, the sky outside the window has changed from evening to morning, but the body has almost recovered. Hopefully this won't leave any details missing, Tomato thought helplessly. As soon as I got out of bed, I heard a scream outside. It's Ren Ting Ting. Tomato was a little confused, so he opened the door and went out, and the sound came from the location of the living room. When he arrived, he saw that it was full of people, and the middle of the living room was wrapped in a white cloth, and it looked like someone was dead. Ren Ting Ting wiped her tears and cried on the side. What's wrong, Sister Ting? Ren Ting Ting saw that it was a Tomato coming, and said silently, my father is dead. Scared, Tomato was shocked. My father-in-law, no, how could it be that Master Ren died? At this time, Uncle Nine and Captain Ah Wei also came. Uncle Nine ignored the comfort, and directly lifted the white cloth to check it. Tomato saw Master Ren's death at a glance. It was too miserable. His skin was gray, his eyes were wide open, and his eyes were bleeding, and the most important thing was the position of his neck. There were several blood holes, and his skin was open. This location is very familiar. Uncle Ju's face was solemn, and he said to the two apprentices, hurry up and go back to Yijuang to see if old lady Ren's body is still there. Wen Sai Chusheng immediately went back. Uncle Nine, how did Master Ren die? Tomato frowned and asked, was it Bin? Of course he was shot and killed. Ah Wei did not miss any opportunity to perform in front of Ren Ting Ting. However, Uncle Nine was not used to him at all, and asked, every shot can hit the neck. Then darts. Nine Sons chain money darts. What about darts? Hey, don't get in the way of my investigation. You're smart. How did you say he died? He stuck his fingernails to death. It should be nails and teeth. Uncle Nine and Tomato said in unison. Seeing that this kid had such a vicious eye, Uncle Nine immediately felt very relieved. Uncle Nine. +3 favorability before Tomato was pleased. Ah Wei's stinky face approached, and he said with a wicked smile. He, Uncle Ju. This is the longest fingernail for you. Wang Defa? Is there any heavenly reason? But now is the era of warlords in the Republic of China, and Ah Wei's background is so strong, Tomato has nowhere to reason. Was taken away directly, and at the last glance, I saw Wen Kai Chusheng coming back, and Uncle Nine didn't know what to say. I didn't expect my Tomato to experience the feeling of being in prison in the game.